Are we? I haven't gotten the rolling from Chris. I feel like we should have some sort of bad pun, but like
there you go.
Jeff, you've been hitting the gym. You're looking good.
Yeah. Hey, welcome to Everyone Racers, a show designed for the world of low-dollar racing and oddball car culture. It doesn't matter what kind of lemon champ or lucky track dog league you run, SCCA or NASA, we won't discriminate, as long as you drive it hard and built it yourself. Join us each week for tech discussions, tips, tricks, as well as news and notes from the world of amateur endurance racing. And whether it's on the spot, hella sweet, or we're lucky enough and Chrissy gives us just the tip, we're sure you'll giggle a little and learn even rest. Everyone report to the paddock. This is Chris.
This is Chrissy.
I'm not Jeff.
And I'm Mental. And we are Everyone Racers. Thanks for coming back and listening to another Ferrari F1 episode of our podcast. The Ferrari 156 was a actual series of Formula 1 and Formula 2 cars. The first 156 was the first car to bear the Dino name. In 1957, the Dino 156 F2 was a single-seater intended for the Formula 2 series, powered by an all-new front-mounted V6. The next was the infamous Shark Nose, built in 1961 to comply with the then-new Formula 1 regulations that reduced engine displacement from 2.5 down to 1.5 liters, similar to the pre-1961 Formula 2 class, for which Ferrari developed that mid-engine car. Phil Hill won the 61 World Championship of Drivers, and Ferrari secured the 1961 International Cup for manufacturers. Then, the 1963 and 64 cars had a far more conventional open tube front nose. And the last victory for the Ferrari 156 was achieved by Italian Lorenzo Bandini in the 1964 Austrian Grand Prix. Of course, there was the disastrous Ferrari 156/85 in 1985, which cost Ferrari the championships as the cars grew unreliable throughout the season. Speaking of that, if you're not driving a car, grab that E1R bingo card and go ahead and check off Mental Tells a Story That Goes Nowhere.
What are you working on?
Do you even watch F1? That's the question.
I have not found without having cable, I have not found a reliable means to watch the F1 races as they happen. I think you guys were talking about it, and I texted you or in the group Slack, where are you guys watching this?
2 weeks ago.
Well, you can buy the subscription and get it on the interwebs. I mean, it's not terrible.
I don't know how much is the subscription. Do I love F1 enough?
Do you know anyone who has cable, who pays for cable TV?
No.
I might. It's not a conversation that comes up, I guess.
Well, it's like because Chrissy's parents do, and so we have their login for Xfinity. So we just go to ESPN app, and it says pick your TV provider, and we say
"Oh, it's you." Okay,
and we put it in that,
that's
and
how
boom, there you go.
It.
So
Slider, I'm going to be asking you for your Xfinity account next time we talk.
Worth it.
I've gotten into watching F1 recently just because we actually produce
2 weeks
things.
Ago.
Well, we produce things that go on some of the F1 cars.
Oh, cool.
That's cool. Nice.
Really cool.
That is awesome.
But did you see it 2 weeks ago?
Yes.
Oh my gosh! I knew he won before I watched it, and I was like, "You will not believe who won."
Yeah,
and
awesome.
You know, I entered into the Apex adjacent, formerly the Clear Coat Podcast F1 Fantasy League, and we as in Everyone Racers did, and I haven't been doing anything with it, so I got to get on that. But going back to what
every time,
but Mental, you're just talking here. So do you want to keep going into what you're actually working on? Because you're just going and going and going.
Fair enough. I came home, obviously, from a couple of races. We'll talk about that here in a second. To a leaf-covered pond in my backyard that was green. So I've spent the last couple of days getting my pool back to pool status. And then, of course, there's always the race recovery, the RV recovery as you unpack and clean. But on that note, I want to extend a huge thanks to a number of teams and Lemons folks at High Plains Raceway. We'll talk more about it, but I was not there Friday night until Saturday night. Primarily Lisa Sims. We sometimes do the bearded sim races with her. She's an employee of Lemons. She was running the show. She came by, took care of my dogs that were in the RV. In addition to that, there was Mary and Chris and Anton and those guys. Judge Phil hung out with my dogs for a while, but the USMC race team that Derek was actually running with. One of their spouses, she'd worked in vet clinics. Her mother owned a couple of vet clinics. My big dog Rika is a diabetic. She had a minor seizure, literally, as I am trying to get into the car to go to the airport.
Oh no!
And they came over and walked the dogs. There were people staying in the RV. I'm getting pictures from Lisa. Just some of them, a lot of the people there at the racetrack that were looking after the dogs are my friends, and a lot of people, absolutely folks I'd never met before. This is how well cared for the dogs were. When I got back Saturday night, about 9:30, I go into my RV. The dogs look up and go, it's you. Cool. Going back to sleep, because they'd had so much entertainment and so many visitors and so many people like just coming by and checking on them. You do
have a Sarah McLachlan soundtrack coming out of your RV, so that's a little bit easier because you can't walk by it without saying hello, and they're okay with it.
Right. Cheech has mastered the shake of. I'm so neglected.
Yeah. Okay. But just particularly Lisa was wonderful. She was sending me pictures, and Vicky was a little worried. She's like, "Are you sure people are going to look after the dogs?" And I'm forwarding all these pictures. I'm like, they're kind of minor celebrities right now. And she goes like, that made me really, but it just underscores the caliber of human beings that are involved in this hobby of ours.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah.
That they would just go over there and take care of a stranger's dog. And then as I got there, I'm talking to Phil. And even Phil's going, well, the weenie dog is on my lap. He's pretty cool. The big one was over there, but a little rat one likes to bark a lot, which tells me he spent a lot of time with them, that he assessed their personalities. Mm-hmm. So again, USMC Racing, you guys are awesome for any number of reasons, not the least of which, of course, Chris Champion and Mary, thank you all so much. And Lisa, thank you for walking my dogs and giving my dogs shots. Just a great effort. Thank you all very, very much. That's it.
Great.
Cool.
Usually this is when you suggest someone else say what they're working on.
I should. You know what? Let's go to the top and say, hey, Chris, what you working on?
Not too much. Prepping to race, driving to a race, racing. No, not really racing. Working on Amsa's car, coming home, cleaning up after a race and working. And that's about it. Yep. Chrissy, what about you?
About the same. Yep. I was packing. We packed.
But I love what Chrissy added in there.
Right?
You know what? I was too busy traveling to do that.
Oh yeah, hell yeah! So we drove the Merc, we filled the Merc, and we had plenty of space after that, which was great. We put the casket, the very large white cooler, into the back of the Mercedes, and had plenty of room for other stuff, which was awesome. We drove south.
We got 28 miles to the gallon on the highway with that thing. On the way home, it was almost 30 because enough time in Virginia in traffic. It was 29.7 for the ride home.
That's rad.
It is rad. It's better than the Mazda. So that, of course, we don't drive anywhere, so it doesn't really matter. We had some Waffle House. Hell yeah.
Awful.
Yes, that's what I did not
it's so good.
I did not get a chance to do.
Oh, it was so good. We were like, I just ate a baby, and that's okay. I was like, I don't even care because it was so
smothered,
filling.
covered baby. Yeah.
Smothered. No, we didn't have smothered. I had covered and chunked, and he had smothered and basically.
No,
we won't get country
covered,
again,
all
though.
the way. Yeah.
We found out country. The calories next to country, which is sausage gravy, of course, sausage gravy, at least gravy.
Yeah, sausage gravy.
It says it's 110
white gravy
calories.
With sausage chunks, yeah.
No problem.
Sausage gravy rules.
And the person who made it had more gravy than there was hash browns.
Yeah.
So we're like, not really 110 calories anymore.
Well, she
one of those really thick straws and just like.
Yeah. It was borderline paste on top of it. But we didn't have that this time. It was a previous time, but it definitely the waitress who served it gave me a portion that she would appreciate of that sausage gravy, and I couldn't even do it.
It's once in a while, and you're in the South, got to do Waffle House. Okay, and then we had go ahead.
I was going to say, speaking of your Mercedes wagon, if you watched our Instagram story, I was sitting in it, and I was going to do a diatribe about the massagers because I was enjoying the massagers, and I ended up having 3 conversations with everyone that wanted to come back and talk about your wagon.
Hell yeah, because it's awesome. And so then we had a long, tiring weekend, which we'll talk about later. And now we're just trying to get back to normal life. That's what we do.
Yeah.
So I'll do an intro because you've heard that somebody different, not Jeff, because Jeff talks like this. And this man does
Jeff
not
talks
talk
like this.
This man does not talk like this. We have a great friend, a great guest tonight. friend of ours, metalhead, and a guy who's probably smarter than all of us.
stop.
Director of something important because it made him so important that it made him move to Southern California. That's what I'm calling you. It's Pantless Matt. What you working on?
We used to call you shirtless. We used to call you shirtless, Matt.
Well, I put on a shirt for this because there could be kids watching.
Well, Eric Root said to call you Pantless Matt, so we said, all right, that's stuck.
Well, F pants, okay? F pants.
F's in chat for pants.
We're Mental is doing.
He was
something
very
right.
enthusiastic at some point.
He had a slow-mo video.
Yeah. So, like you guys, I am recovering from CMP 24. Running 2 competitive cars with only 6 drivers.
Did you sleep at all?
Got about an hour and a half of sleep, maybe.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean, I had spent a week really with Dean leading up to that. Took a whole week off basically because we knew the amount of prep to get 2 cars down there was astronomical. And God bless Jackie for putting up with it. We'll talk about it more, but anyway. So since then, what I'm working on, lots of ordering parts. We got a bunch of stuff that broke on the bird or needs to be upgraded, kind of wear stuff in general. The Solstice, previously of 3-pedal duo car notoriety, will be getting a full wrap in party racing livery this weekend.
It's about damn time.
So
That's awesome.
maybe well, I've been busy.
WAP.
But maybe we can go and have a look at it in a little bit once we get into things. But yeah, I've got the vinyl ready to go, and so yeah, then it's going to be last minute prep because we're headed to Button Willow in just over a week.
That is crazy.
Excellent.
I didn't realize you were turning things around so quickly. Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
He's that kind of guy.
I know he is.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Great. Well, we've got lots to cover tonight, so we're going to keep things moving. It's time for
not just him.
What?
News and
notes. What?
Yes.
Mental went away, and then so all of a sudden there's
No.
Anyway.
Well, hopefully you can still hear me.
We can.
His videos.
All right. So, in a very interesting bit of Twitter trolling, BMW's response to a NASCAR tweet started a lot of speculation. NASCAR tweeted out at the beginning of the month. It was one of their engagement tweets, and it said, describe NASCAR in 3 words. To wit, BMW responded, better with BMW, which launched weeks of speculation and a whole lot of great Photoshopped NASCARs with those ridiculous buck teeth grills that they're so insistent on nowadays. But alas, BMW will not be joining the ranks of NASCAR for now. But we have a link to a driver article in our show notes.
Yay, NASCAR.
Yay, NASCAR.
Yay, no, don't care. We love Ross Bentley as well as Lucky Dog. Recently, Kathy was featured on a Ross Bentley Speed Secrets podcast. We listened to this actually on our way home, and she did a wonderful job of presenting where budget racing endurance series, because she didn't like crap can. She's like, don't use that word. Where they started and how they're all functioning differently and why Lucky Dog's different. So Kathy's a riot, and we need to have her back on the show. This it was a good episode. I would listen to it if you have some time.
And Ross Bentley's he has a good show there too. So
always
also worth seeing. Great. All right. Upcoming races. Without Jeff, it's not the same. I don't have the trombone. I don't have a megaphone. Yeah.
Upcoming races.
Oh,
there we go.
There you go. I don't even have a
Excellent. So, speaking of our friend Kathy, the Wild Dogs of Chuckwalla, presented by Lifeline USA, is coming up this weekend. It's a 7.5 and 7-hour enduro, limited to 60 cars. Our friend Brett Sloman's going to be there. Man, Brett has been all over this lately.
He was just in Indianapolis this weekend. Shoot.
Yeah,
like,
man.
All over.
Does that guy work? Like,
who knows? Because it's independently wealthy. Isn't that nice? Event is limited to 60 cars. Hopefully everyone stays hydrated. It's supposed to be 105 down there in the desert at Chuckwalla.
Middle of nowhere.
And I would love to be there, but we already booked Button Willow for the following week. So
does Chuckwalla have any facilities yet? Like when we were there, it was a parking lot and a trailer. And
I haven't been there. Yet, but it's only 3 hours from here. It's just the other side of the country.
Chuckwalla had the nice facilities. That was where they had the terrible.
What's where they had the.
They have a nice facility.
Oh, that's right. They had a bathroom that was really good until the generator for the bathroom ran out of power in the middle of the night. Until someone in the paddock had to go find some gas in their paddock and fill the generator back up and start it back up.
That was a really nice place. It was brand new. But literally, it's a racetrack and a big concrete pad, like a really big pad, and a bathroom, and that's all.
It's in the middle of the flipping desert. It's literally,
Yeah.
there's nothing there.
Nothing there, which is why you can put a racetrack there.
And it's great when you're there in December and the wind is rolling through the desert and you are in a tent.
But it's just like Button Willow or even Big Willow.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're all just slices of desert, dusty old slices of desert.
Good place to put it, in the middle of nowhere, not bothering anybody.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to talk about some place that's right in the middle of everybody. AER was at Summit this weekend. There were 50 cars, 29 boring BMWs.
Boring.
Boring. Hondas, 7 Porsches, including a 924 and a Chevy Cobalt.
Yeah, Cobalt.
Woo. Is that fun?
That's better than I'd rather have 29 Chevy Cobalts in the race.
Yeah.
That would be much more exciting.
Cobalt spec racing, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, coming to a series near you. Saturday, first was Random Vandals Racing in a boring BMW. Also had FTD, who also had FTD second, whatever.
Fast time of the day. Come on.
Fast time of the day. Second is Modern Auto Body with another boring BMW because that's all that runs in AER. And third was Loose Cannon Racing in a Porsche. That's good. Sunday was a copy of Saturday with Modern Auto also racing taking the FTD, finishing second, and third was an air cool. Thank you for that. In a Porsche. Their last two events will be at the end of October at Mid Ohio, and their last event's going to be at NJMP in November at Thunderbolt.
That's good. That's the non-dong track.
Seriously.
That's the good one.
Right. Yeah.
Yep. Champ car was. Just lightning gets boring.
Not when you go sideways and hit a tire wall. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, that's true. Even then, that's the wrong kind of exciting.
We don't want that kind of exciting.
So Champ Car ran at Indy Saturday. The team Good, Bad, and Ugly took the top spot in their 78 Corvette. Man, I don't know how anybody does. Nope, that was not known as a good motorsports car.
It's a bad car. New. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So I don't know how they did that, but second was Final Turn Motorsports in a Miata. Third was 9-4 Motorsports in an IS300. Sunday was Crank Yankers in a boring BMW. One lap over the Disco Vet of Good, Bad, and Ugly with Blitzkrieg Racing, 4 laps behind them. I'm sure that's a BMW. Apocalyptic Racing with Brett Sloman won the B race Sunday, but their
nice.
Ecotech Z apparently got a big war wound on the rear quarter. Mental had a good conversation with him on Twitter, apparently, because Mental was bored or in an airport or something. They were broke Saturday, so they're pro racer. They get pro racers, aren't they fancy?
That's why they won.
Ryan Lewis spent Sunday at home building IKEA shelves while the rest of the crew was getting it done, because that's what pro Rive and Drive racers do, is build IKEA
they have
shelves.
Somebody to do that for them?
Yeah, who knows?
In theory, they've got downtime, I would think.
Yeah.
More on this in a minute, but the 24 Hours of Lemons ran 2 simultaneously true 24-hour races. Until someone proves otherwise, we're saying this is the first time any race series has done this. The first one was the 24 Hours at Carolina Motorsports Park, where we were. The IOE was semi-sentient centenarians in their veteran BMW-themed 96 Buick Century. The overall winner on laps. Go ahead.
Sorry, whoever was driving that car when I was out in the Bird was driving like they were winning the race, like not giving up an apex, not doing anything.
Real racing.
And I was watching the rotors glow on their.
He had the line. He had the line.
He totally did.
So did you when you went off into the black.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. The overall winner on laps was Jerry Curl Racing in an '89 Taurus show. It was held together for the entire 24 hours, and that alone has to be a record. Taurus show. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Class B went to a striking group of good-looking folks. Party racers right there. Boom. Sorry for party racing in our recently built 87 Porsche 944, a.k.a. Champagne Showers. Much more recent build than the Firebird we were also running. God's chosen class, Class C, was won by Modcrass Racing in an 98 Kia Sophia. Org choice was Grim Reaper Racing in their 94 Mustang. Boring. Heroic Fix went to Rally Fart in their 82 Eagle Talon, because if you fix a DSM, you're a hero. Judge's choice was Jackson 5 in a 90 CRX SI, and I Got Screwed went to Iron Works Racing in a 95 DM and GM and Mitsubishi LTD.
That's Dave Morrow's car.
Why?
Because they caught fire really badly.
Oh,
when
that
they
was
were
the
leaving
Zero?
sea.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
it's a Mitsubishi Mirage with a supercharged 3800 in the front of it, and there's a
the
great
fire is bad.
picture somewhere of the car really on
Yeah.
fire.
Yeah, coming around that last turn and seeing a car on fire as you're heading towards the paddock was pretty rad. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, Chris, if you
Awesome.
check out our Facebook page, I think Chrissy had posted a lot of those. Those were.
I don't know that they're on Facebook. I did not post them on Facebook.
Oh no, sorry.
But I
you
was
did.
right
You
there.
Put them, you
These
put
are
them
in
in the Slack.
Yeah, but this is
Yeah.
we were right there. Jim and I walk out and we're like, oh, that's like a real fire. Like this isn't just a little bit.
Yeah. Mental, are you back enough to read your paragraph here about Colorado? No, he's not. I guess I'm going to do it then. So
He's looking very
concurrently,
pensively though.
he is very pensive. He's and not moving. So Lemons ran the Get Your Fill 12-24-hour event at High Plains. Overall, an A-class wet 2, so fast in a pretty boring BMW 318 Ti, sponsored by a quilting company because that's fun.
That's awesome.
B was another boring.
Get it?
318
So
Ti.
fast. Come on.
Got it. Yep. Exactly.
Be here all night.
B was a Rattle Punk Racing and another 318 Ti, which apparently is not as good as the other one. I don't know how you get one in B and one in C, probably the engine. Anyway, C was Cousin Racing in a VW Cabrio. It was hilarious. It had a giant rear wing. During the overnight shifts, it was suspiciously quick. By the morning, it looks like it was hurting. Mental's team, the Inglourious Bastards, finished 10th overall and 5th in A. There you go. Now, there was also a pair of 12-hour races at these, but that's boring. People don't why are you entering the 12-hour? Because you don't want to have fun. That's
there was what, 4 or 5
Yeah.
I think we had
teams
6.
at
Seven.
CMP?
At
CMP had 7. None of them were Class C. Colorado had 4 because people think this is dumb. Anyway, CMP, the quitter winners were the Corolla Virus Motorsports in an 83 Corolla, and B was the Palmetto Pride Mustang. High Plains overall and Class B went to Salty Thunder and a Fiero.
Nice.
Yep, and that included Anton, Chris, Mary, Jan, some other folks we know from Colorado. They beat the lone Class A car by almost 100 laps.
Awesome.
Class C entry was the only one of them, was lackadaisical. Also beat the A-class car. Class A was a Dodge Shadow and a Blues Clues theme, but who knows? How does a Dodge Shadow get an A? Whatever. It was the 12-hour race. It's lame.
Oh, this is only the 12.
Lame.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Lame.
Yeah. Lame.
Yep.
Totes.
Next.
Okay. Finally, WRL has announced their Eastern Championship results. GTO went to the team GTR. GP1, Thunder Bunny Racing. GP2 Racing, it's round 3 Racing. GP3, AOA. GP4, Odor Motor Race Group. Congrats. Oh. Okay.
So our friend Todd Carver races a lot of WRL, and I had been texting him, hey, how did this happen? How did this go? They have a phone in their Miata that they use if they have a new locally developed app there in Tulsa called Driver Monitor, and it interacts with Race Monitor and tells you in class the car in front of you, the car behind you, and the gaps, and it does it real time.
Did you say a phone?
Right, and it does it real time. Well, as they put this phone in the car, as they put this phone in their car, he had signed in to iMessage. So every time I sent him a message, it was going to the race car.
This is what Jeff threatens to text on the iPad when it's in the Civic.
I love it.
Right.
That's funny.
Right. So literally today he calls me and goes, who is this? How'd you get this number? And I go, dude, it's mental. And he's like, this is my race car phone. Why are you texting me on it? And we'd have having a great conversation catching up on those guys.
Love that.
So he was telling me that High Plains Raceway, they got protested, and they when they won their class, they got protested by another team because they did the math on fuel consumption, and they were basically running 2-hour shifts and then pushing in the clutch and praying that they could roll up the hill to the pit stop. And another guy was like, oh, you shouldn't be in my class. You guys are cheaters, because they did the math on it. But it's he's saying like they've had a great time.
Matt did the math too. Let's not do the math. It makes us sad if we do the math.
Or do math and then win. You know, that's how that all works. But it's they've had some great times. And with the Ronald Till and the guys that are now running WRL, I think it's a great series. So I'm glad we got those results in there.
Okay.
Okay.
Ready for?
Listen up.
Yep. Listen
Yep.
for feedback. Thanks.
Yep.
Great. So our last show on YouTube had some conversation. Brandon Wyatt said it's definitely Sophia. Although when you're trying to say pronunciation, Matt, last week I said it's Kia Sophia.
Yeah.
Everyone else said no, it's Sophia.
Oh, I would say Sophia, but I don't know any better.
Well, we don't either, but I like when you put in our comments, it's
you spelled it. Like, okay, which one
know
is
which
it?
one it
Is
is.
it Sophia or Sephia?
Yeah, you need like the pronunciation,
Right,
like
some
the
kind of we need some,
phonetical.
Spell it
need-
phonetically.
Yeah,
Or-
where's which syllable has the emphasis?
that's what I'm looking for.
The hard
But
part
it's
there.
definitely
Okay.
whatever you think it is.
Yep. James Mulhern said classing in B is a struggle sometimes. They've been robbed of a potential winner too due to it. Yep, that's a tough one. Another one, AJH7722 said, I'm not an NK bot. I have both podcast and video. I prefer the video. I guess I'm a weird one who likes video podcasts over regular audio only. Well, hey,
Because it was
Look
a
at these
weird
beautiful
name.
faces.
It was a weird name, and we thought, oh, he's a North Korean bot. And so, no, I'm not.
I'm not a bot.
I'm not North Korean bot.
That's exactly what North Korean bot would say.
Right? I know.
know.
As you were reading that, I was like, oh no, maybe it is a bot. AJH77222, which is literally what his name is on YouTube. Anyway, okay, so my pit setup video is still out there for the 43 of you that watched it. Thank you so much.
I did. We did leading into the race.
Thanks.
I was sitting at Dean's place with Jackie watching it.
I know. That's very nice of you. I appreciate it. But we got some interesting ideas from a faithful listener. I'm like, okay, so I'm going to read it all. I was going to cut it down, but it's all good information. So I figured I'm going to put it out there. I love your stuff here. A complimentary take, but with differences from our stuff. You have an enclosed trailer, so you use a $50 used chest freezer. It weighs about 40 times more than the cooler of the same size. We carry 18 frozen gallons and one flat of frozen pint bottles. Frozen gallons last the whole weekend. In a cooler seat, a few after melted become coffee water, and then individual bottles and keep the trash can kegerator cool, becomes drinking water after. Normally a nice ice silver down the middle. Also, you can do freeze pops, ice cream, right? We were going to do freeze pops. We should have brought them with us. That would have been great. If you keep your trailer at your house, plug it in 3 days before the race and freeze all the water. Load it with everything at your convenience. Nice idea if you don't care about the how heavy it is. And we don't have a lot of room.
Well, if it's already in the trailer, you don't really need to move it. But
no. Well,
you need a trailer bigger than ours for that. Like our 20-foot, it's a little tough to fit the freezer. Yeah.
We fill it with all. Oh, it is jam packed right now, or was. Most of the prep, his prep, also for 16 to 21, is cook ahead of time, frozen and heated, and finish on the grill. We do have a lot more to talk about the food that we did not add to that video. Again, the freezer is helpful here when when the race is a full drive away. 180 pounds of thermal mass plus food in a single cooler means it's all still frozen. Make chili, soup, whatever in the crock pot with a liner. Totally, that's my secret. And freeze it in the liner. Now that's epic.
Yeah, I've heard this too. You freeze it in the crock pot in the liner already. So when you're ready, it already is the right shape.
All right, we're going to need to level up on this one. So paper good and condiments go in an underbed storage bin. Take off the top for serving, put it back on, and serve something. Set something heavy on it for thunderstorms. Solves all the where the F is all of this stuff when somebody's trying to grab bites in between meals, which I have. But all of my people know, and we heard this while we're sleeping in the RV. Chrissy's gonna be so mad because we're looking in this cooler and we're gonna dig through it. And we can't. Was that you? I heard it.
It was me and Hamza, because I showed up late and I didn't want to get in the RV and wake anybody up. So I just slept in the car, and I woke up, and of course it's 6 o'clock in the morning and Hamza's already prepping the car because he's Hamza. And so I walk over and we're talking, and he's like, I'm ready for some coffee. And we figured that all out, and we got the coffee all made up, but then it was, okay, he wanted creamer. And we were hesitant. Like, we looked at each other and go, do we open the cooler and look around?
We heard this.
And Chris, and finally Hamza goes, well, she's just going to be mad at me. What was interesting though, it was exactly where we thought it would be, because you pack the cooler chronologically. Exactly. It was where the morning stuff would be, and it was right there. And we put everything back except for the creamer, and then we made coffee.
And I wasn't going to leave it out because that'd be gross. So yes. So thanks for all your stuff, Michael K. Appreciate it. Anybody else has ideas? I'd love to hear.
Perfect. Yes. And we also, Eric K. on our last episode talking about driving different classes of cars. And it was something he pointed out. He said, I bet a ton of teams don't even think beyond this stuff other than go race, which I think when we first started, we were guilty of. And then we realized this isn't checkers, it's chess. And we're not just talking, there's not just the three pedal mafia on there, but sorry for party racing. You guys have been doing this for, you talked about this at South Carolina. How many races are on the Bird now?
Yeah, that was the 30th race on that chassis. 3-0.
It was almost broken by 29, but yeah.
And we were all excited for the 30th race was going to have a nice new front nose.
Which got torn off on practice day.
I saw it fly off too.
Unbelievable.
Dean was already mad. Dean was already super mad, let alone
And
I was madder.
I know.
Yeah, he does. But I was even madder. I'm like, this is dumb.
He was probably mad because he knew you'd be even madder. But yes, that's the thing. Okay, a couple more things, and then we'll get to all the 24s, because that's obviously what we're dying to talk about. Racer Rona reaction on Sunday.
We were all driving home.
Yeah.
Jeff was there.
Jeff was there. So after
Jeff's not here.
A terrible a really long drive. Wasn't terrible. We were just so wiped. I'm sure all of us were.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, we got in bed. I was like just flipping through Facebook just to see what was going on, and I turned and it showed up, and I was like, oh, I'll turn it on. So I'm not really watching it. We did watch it for a little bit, and then Jeff was talking about the jet ski.
I remember.
The jet ski.
The jet ski. That's right.
The jet ski or the death ski?
The jet ski.
Okay.
Our hella dangerous jet ski paddock
was
vehicle.
awesome.
And there's pictures of Chris. Like I just happened to open it, and he's flashing up all these pictures of the jet ski and Chris driving the jet ski, and I was like, I guess we should watch because we're on here, and we're like,
that thing was so hella dangerous.
I just remember you trying to keep up with the boat when we did the CMP race 5 years ago, and you're like falling behind, like pedaling along
because the battery died. Thought it was going to be a good idea.
You had to soak it in the charger for like a week to get anything out of that battery.
All right, so I'm sure it was great. I'm sure the racing was great, but we all missed it because we're all too dead tired. So
yep. I made it about halfway across Colorado. It was like 5 o'clock, and the dogs need to eat. So I pulled over at a truck stop, fed the dogs, walked the dogs, did everything, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna lay on the couch here and get a nap or so. Woke up at midnight, a couple of texts from my wife going, hey, are you okay? And I'm like, oh, hey, good night, babe. Went right back to sleep and woke up at 7 in the morning.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Every 24 I've ever done, which this was the only time I actually really drove most of it, you're just destroyed afterwards. Like I was nodding trying to drive home the hour from Miller when I was living in Utah. I was like, it was dangerous.
Yeah.
Like you guys drove the same day all the way home. God bless. I don't know how you did it.
And
the Mercedes drove a lot of it actually. So.
Well, and I slept for just probably an hour, maybe less.
It's better than nothing, but holy cow.
Yeah, and then we switched, and then he wasn't as tired. But we basically were dragging.
The auto cruise control and self steer as long as your hand is on the wheel. That helped out a lot.
And the massager, you're getting the massage. You're being relaxed.
Absolutely.
And the lane departure warning. Oh, okay. Got it.
All of these things. There's no lies here. That's it. It's got all.
Oh, and I got to CMP about 3 in the morning. And of course, the only person up, it's Alex Levinson, because he's walking around zip tying ducks to everybody's car. And I had the top down because I had rented a convertible, and I'm driving through, and I see this guy, just kind of like wandering through the paddock. I'm like, oh, he's a shady character. And he turns around and goes, oh, hey, what's up, Mental? I'm like,
totally shady.
I'm like, you're
staying with it.
Yeah, he's still shady. I'm like, you're ducking cars, aren't you? And he goes, yep. And so but I didn't sleep very well, and I'm sleeping in the car. So I'm a little, worn out, and I'm taking the opening shift in CMP. So Chrissy was like, oh, no, go look at the Mercedes, go sit in the Mercedes. And I'm like, there is a 2-page massage menu on the Mercedes that is genuinely impressive.
I went through the best.
Well, it said activate massage, and I thought, this is what I need. And as it turned out, it was what I needed.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Well, that's the one. Yeah. Anyway, there's lots of them. They're fun.
Yeah.
Try
But
them.
go check out if it's actually, there's no way it's still
I
up on
think
our
it's
Insta
gone.
story. Yeah. But so I'm sitting there and two guys come up and they do the roll the window down thing. And they're like,
Yeah,
hey,
you said already. You had
we're
conversation with 3
we're
people.
debating, is that a 6'3" or is it a 400? And then Yo Man comes by and tries to like cough on me. And I said, you realize this is a Mercedes. It already has an antibacterial screen. And then you will also be arrested and sent to an education camp for coughing on a Mercedes.
In Germany.
He's like, okay.
Yep.
Tell me when. All
Work
right.
will make you clean.
So then there was the E1R race. Now I had every intention of getting in on this race because it was a practice for the Bearded Sim Racer event coming up.
The California Crush, whatever.
California
right? Yep.
Crush. And then my RV decided it didn't need one of its 6 tires. So that put my schedule completely behind.
That's why you have extras. Duh.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why it's dualies in the back. Props to Big O Tire in
I'm sure they're listeners.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. In small town Colorado. They were fantastic. So
Big O does a good job, man.
You got a new tire in there and all set. Fantastic.
Oh, and like, yeah, it took me longer to get to the tire store than it did for them to replace the inner dually on my RV. So props.
Speaking of which, I got to order a set of tires for Buttonwell. I'm going to open that tire rack page right now to remind me for later.
Excellent.
Nice.
All right.
Did any of us make it?
No, we were exhausted. I mean, it's a night after a 24. Like we were barely crawled into bed. Wait a minute.
What?
Jeffrey Wakeman is connecting to audio.
It's a creepy picture.
Well, that's like 15-year-old Jeff. He's standing next to
Oh, look at this guy.
Woo woo! I'm here.
Tire screen
Awesome.
freezes, which is why I'm not recording this, and why is Chrissy's.
I like when Mental talks to himself when he doesn't think anyone can hear. That's
Damn
the
it!
fun part.
This was it froze with Chrissy like this. It was
You
I
should
can
have done a
say
little
like that.
screen capture, dude.
I was
Come on.
working on it. Yeah.
And then we can still hear you. Hey, Forehead
Hi,
of Radio.
Jeff.
Hi. Are we in the middle of the podcast or something?
We're getting towards the end of the E1R race, and we were having some internet issues. And you know who would never skip Jeff's class, and also whose internet never freezes?
Chrissy's dad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
One part of my family.
Okay. Yep. So
Okay.
Jeff, you can tell us about the iRacing there because you were commenting on it on Sunday night.
Yeah, we had a good time. We had some professional iRacing people also commenting.
Oh.
So there
also,
was-
Jeff,
Yes.
I'm giving you the tube of mockery because
tube
you
of
sound
mockery
like
again.
You're on the tube of mockery again tonight.
Okay, hold on a minute.
Tonight's
Take a second.
tube of mockery event is brought to you by the GMT 800 truck, the official tow pig of the 3 Fun Mafia.
Not anymore.
All right,
actually.
is that any better?
You're the lone
No.
holdout of the GMT 1800 because Jessica in Japanese and
Are we ready?
mine is a
We've got yours too. Jeff's still working on it.
Jeff's still working.
Jeff's still working on it.
You
We didn't hear
can
about the
check-
E1R race.
Check on your box. Jeff plays with his wires.
Hey, if I plug it in, it
Oh,
works a lot
that's
better.
much
Oh, that's
better.
much better. Great. So Jeff, give us an update
Oh,
on what
we're
happened
a
Sunday night.
Professional podcast.
I no, we're not
No.
obviously.
156 episodes. This is all you get.
Yeah, we had
So-
we had the 80. We had a multi-class on the Charlotte Roval, and it was fantastic. The 87s were crashing like you wouldn't believe. Ryan, the bearded sim racer, found a great couple of camera places right at the. It's not the bus stop. It's the other one, the one that's harder to do. And it was fantastic. Just the crashes were amazing. And, we were funny. Had a good time. It's
So
better
Ryan-
when more than one of us is on. I'm just going to tell you that right now.
Are you talking about Sunday night or Monday night? Because we're
Sunday
talking about the E1R
Sunday
race.
night.
Okay, Sunday night. We missed that
Oh,
one too.
I asked him for Sunday because I know he was there.
So we
Sunday.
turned it
Yeah.
on. You missed it. We turned it on right when we were trying to go to bed, but I turned it on because I just happened to be flipping through Facebook when you were talking about the jet ski, the death ski,
Yep, we talked about
and
the
you were
death
showing
ski.
all the pictures, and I was like, well, they're talking about us, and we're like, don't care, gotta go to bed.
Don't care. Out.
I don't know where it came from, what you started with or
Yes,
not, but there's all
somebody
kinds
was
of-
talking about actual jet skis.
Oh.
And then that came up. Oh, we had one of those once. So.
It's the best.
And worse.
Were you at the Monday race?
I was not.
Okay. Well,
So none of us
we're
were-
losers.
None of us were at our own race.
No,
Sorry,
I couldn't
people.
make it either.
Terrible.
Next time.
So if any listeners made it on Monday, thank you, and we're
Right?
sorry, or we're not sorry. You're probably happy we weren't there because you didn't get any
Got some
surprise.
actual racing. People
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't crash
No,
into
no
you.
surprise. Surprises from behind.
I assume Santiago was there because like an hour before he sent me a Facebook message to get the Discord.
Oh, good.
So,
That's
Well,
great.
You're
All
not
we
ever
need
on
him
the
now is
Discord?
him beating us
No.
and talking shit while he does it. That'll be great.
No, he wasn't on the Discord as he beats us, so that's good to have him there. All right, great. All right, so yeah, main topic time. We did all of the 24s. There's a lot that happened. There's a lot to talk about. We have barely recovered from our sleep deprivation at this point. So we're just going to go around the horn with some interesting topics of chronologically about what happened
Send
for the
it.
weekend.
Just
So,
send it. Yeah.
right, let's start with
I'm the
with
only jerk
prep.
off who wasn't there. So
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, you jerk off.
Exactly. So we're going to start with prep. I didn't do any prep. I prepped the trailer and gave it to Hamza. He prepped the car. And
We did food prep and
did- yep.
pit prep.
yeah, well, you can talk about that.
Okay, fine.
I loaded the Mercedes. That had to fold the seats down and take the cargo divider out.
A
Have
little bit of
fun.
heavy
For life,
lifting.
everybody.
Yeah. All right.
Matt,
Chrissy?
you did the most prep. No, well, okay, I can go quick.
Yours is
Dean
quick.
did the
though.
most. Yeah.
But you did the most prep out of you did car prep, so you
Yeah.
have plenty to talk about. So we split the pit paddock work with Jackie from Sorry for Party. We did a great job together. So both of us did what we do best. I packed all of my Lemons crap, so I had boxes of. You're welcome. Lots of boxes of stuff and all the stuff that I usually bring with me, I just brought with me. And then she filled in a couple meals. So we had food going the whole weekend, and there was plenty of snacks and plenty of stuff around. So hopefully nobody went hungry. I think most meals.
I think later on we should talk about the food because I think
Sure.
there were some
You
serious
had some
wins.
There was
amaze
some-
balls food.
There was
for the
some
weekend.
maze balls food. So that's what I did. But we brought we sent a whole lot of the stuff in the trailer with Hamza, so a lot of it was already there when we got there. And then all of the perishable stuff and stuff we wanted to continue to prep came with us in the Merc. That's what I did. Matt, what did you do? What didn't you do?
So yeah, I'll try to
right?
keep it quick, but I'm going to speak for Dean a little bit here as well, because I mean he spent the car made it down there a couple months ago from Vermont, and he basically disassembled the whole car. If you look at the Sorry for Party Racing web page on Facebook, you'll see a bunch of pictures of all the work he did. I mean, the dude just crushed it. He
This
had
is on the
really,
Failbird, right?
yeah, on the Firebird. Yeah, he had.
Oh, I don't think you
Pretty
can call
much.
it the fail bird anymore.
It's a Failbird. I mean, with me driving it this weekend.
mean,
It
how
got,
many-
it
how
got
many
beat
drive
by a
shafts-
944.
How many
mean,
drive
Sure
shafts did
oh, I don't want to talk about drive shafts.
okay, fine.
Not
no,
everybody
Dean had-
knows what it
Go ahead.
is, so why don't you tell them what it
It's
is?
a 1985 Firebird Trans Am, and we built
And
this
what does it
thing.
look like?
We built it in 2010, and it has basically a stock 350, stock GM parts anyway. We kind of mix and match things to make a better motor out of it, and it was running a T5 most of this time, and we just swapped to a T56 at New Hampshire. Had to weld parts together to make it work, so it wasn't even that cheaty. Anyway, so yeah, it's a 350 powered, 6-speed, 85
Carbureted,
Firebird,
right?
carbureted,
Yeah,
vacuum secondaries, Holly 600, 650, whatever it is. Yeah,
yeah.
Uh,
There's
very
an
old
LS
school.
in your future.
In our future, yes, and it's got a wild ass paint job, which is actually a vinyl job. Since 2013 was kind of when we picked up the party racing livery.
Because
and
before then
started
it was
doing
really lame. So I'm glad you found
Well, I don't know. The judges loved our Roger Smith thing, but that only lasted one season. But party racing was really fun, and they kind of poked us a couple times about you guys are really good at themes. You should do another thing. I'm like, no, that's for 3-pedal. Let them do new themes all the time.
You've got one stick and it works for you.
We've had
We're
so
not your
much-
personality, so
We're
Really,
done with
though,
that.
We've had so much fun with that theme, and it's become a little bit of an institution. It's
Yeah,
it's just
totally.
too much
Can't
fun.
get rid of it
totally.
now.
So
We
No,
just love
you're
it,
stuck.
So yeah, so Dean had everything off that car, but the rear end and the engine. I mean, everything else came out of it.
All
Literally
the
everything.
panels
The
and everything.
interior,
It was-
Yeah.
everything. The fenders were off of it. Everything, because the car has got, as I said, this is a 30th race on that car. So
Oof.
All the seams in the car were torn apart. Go ahead.
Something
You're
is
raising your hand?
shedding. Something. Yes, that's what we do. Something is shedding in this car because Chris was filthy.
My suit is still filthy after like something in the front. And I just washed it even, and it didn't even come out.
I think it's tires. I think tire goo comes up through the fender there. We tried to fix that, but apparently we didn't. Yeah,
Tire goo through
because
the
Laura
fender.
got out of the car.
Totally
She had
safe.
raccoon eyes because she had her helmet open.
But your new suit didn't get dirty though.
Not really.
No.
I mean, it got dirty from working on the stupid car, but
Well, and you were like, I'm not working on the car. And you're like, no, I'm totally working on the car. No, but Chris got out and he did 2 hours and he got out. I was like,
Yeah.
how are you so dirty? Like this suit was filthy. So
well,
anyway,
it's got no roof and it makes a lot of tire goo.
Mhm,
I mean,
something
we go
shedding.
through a set of 275s every race.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a lot.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Mhm.
wait, I haven't seen pictures of it yet because
Yeah.
Dean hasn't really looked at the car. He doesn't want to touch it, but oh yeah.
Surprised. Like, that was not there before.
This is hanging up to dry because of the washer, and that's still what's there.
I wonder if it's like something on the harness actually.
On the
but-
belts, yeah.
yeah.
Looks like it's in the belt area. But anyway,
But yeah, so every seam in that car had broken. I mean, all the mounts, the steering box where it mounts to the frame was tearing the frame apart. So he really had everything apart. Made some supports and added a bunch of structure around certain things that were failing. Dude went through the entire bottle of welding gas and a couple spools of wire, just tightening things up in that car. So anyway,
This is surprising though. It's been
ton of work he put
many,
into it.
many
so.
races.
It had so much awesomeness going through it that's
That's right. That's right. Well, we're not kind to that chassis. I'll tell you that.
You are
Yeah.
not. I was
You're
telling someone
not
else.
kind.
I was telling someone else a story of NJMP, God, 4 years ago when the boat blew up, and we put it. We Sorry for Party and Three Pedal Mafia both bought engines from the same
That's right.
crappy
We did.
oh, I forgot that we
Scumbag
both did engine
douche
back
of a junkyard owner who,
Yep.
finger
Yes.
quotes, guaranteed their engine.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I fought him.
He
He's
drove
cool.
them.
the one we had to dispute the charges with our credit
That
card
I
to
did
get
do
it.
that.
Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
we put a 305 in at that race, and we knew it was going to fail. This was one of those kind of Lemons Karma things we did over the years.
Don't
You
do
know, we're
that.
all in friggin' Speedos swapping a stupid engine in. We take the intake off this engine.
Pounding a bottle of Jaeger as you're doing it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Take the intake off, and there's like 3 inches of goop in the top of it. We're like, F it, send it. Like,
I think
It
we
made
did,
it-
something, we did something similar. And
We
it
knew
still
it was
didn't
gonna
work.
fail.
It didn't work
Yeah.
nearly as
It didn't even get out of the paddock, ours. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, so Dean also was prepping the other car, right?
Actually, we didn't have to do much on the 944. It ran really well at Atlanta. It was just he and I tag teaming it. And other than coming off for an exhaust crack, which we wanted to just verify that the car wasn't coming apart, that was the only off of the weekend in Atlanta. So he and I pushed that car to 11th place on a big fast track with a 180 horsepower car. So we're really happy with that.
That's awesome. And you had some
Yeah.
struggles before then with the 9.
Oh yeah, that car. Yeah, the car was DNF like with an hour of seat time the past 2 races before that. So we got a little bit of crap on the internet for like, oh, why is this car in A? Well, or in B rather. It's like, well,
Because
it's
been
pretty stock,
Because it's
And
a
they-
944. Anyone
and they
who's
spin
talking about
bearings
that-
and they break stuff left and
And
right,
it's
and
a naturally aspirated 180 horsepower.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and if the clutch goes, your race is over. If anything in the trans
Exactly.
goes, your race is
Yeah.
over.
So-
If,
And you look at the history of 944s, I think
Oh, it's bad.
their completion rate is like 5%. You know,
It's bad.
talk to Steph about 944s. Talk to Tetanus Racing about 944s. I mean, yeah.
Well, see, but like Tetanus, they put a 3.8 in it. That's the right answer. You know, we talked about putting the
Yes.
Ecotech in
It
it.
is. Ecotech would work too. Hell yeah.
And we haven't yet because we, unfortunately bought an extra motor at one of those blown ones, and then Dean was like, well, we might as well fix it up. I got the thing. So, but anyway. So yeah, it didn't need much actually. We put adjustable seat rails in both cars, so the short people like Amanda could drive both cars. And it was just, I mean, I don't know, Dean and I put a week of almost, 8-10 hour days in every day, mostly on the Firebird, but a little bit on the 944. It's a
There you
long
go.
week.
Yeah. Hey everyone, I did some prep.
oh yeah,
Yeah, I helped my brother pack the RV with the
That's fine. We
the
appreciate it.
fuel
Yeah, thank you.
cart and
Mhm.
the exhaust
table.
pipe and the table and
No,
yeah,
we
that was all I did.
thanks.
I participated none other than that.
Well, thanks. Yeah, and I'd ask Mental what prep he did, but we know the answer. Nothing.
Flying.
Nothing.
Yeah.
He flew in.
Showing
Got
up.
Yep.
there.
Great. All right. Friday testing time. I'll start us off. We didn't test on Friday because CMP's testing is ridiculous.
Horrible.
Yep. We did drive the car around the street, though, for quite a while. I drove like 20 miles on the street because Hamza has that car tagged and insured, and the lights still worked and stuff.
Of
So
course he does.
I drove it around. I drove it like 20
Well, that's
miles.
good because we needed
It
to.
was
because
fine.
We had brake problems.
Well,
we had
yeah.
questionable brake.
Yeah, the new brake system in the car, it had a dead spot at the top of the pedal because it's a different master cylinder off a different generation car. So it had a dead spot, and we just found it just has a dead spot. You're going to get through the dead spot, and the brakes are wonderful. So, oh well, deal with it. But we tested them on the street, bedded the pads in, and heat cycled the tires. So that's one advantage to having a tagged, insured race car.
With like
Stuff like that on the street.
and also Jim got in it and drove it around, so he
Yep.
had not been in that car before, and so wanted to make sure that he knew what it
for
did.
a while. He had been in it before.
Yeah,
but
he drove
it'd
to
been a long-
Thompson last
It'd
year.
been a long time. So,
Yeah.
um,
And I remember
The-
one of my times inside, you'd said something about, well, I said, there's some brake shutter. And you went, because you're not doing it hard enough.
Yeah. you got to push through the shutter, and then it's great. And they stops right now.
Break later. That's all.
Exactly.
Pretty much.
So that was
As long as
Friday.
you know it's going to break.
Friday was pretty easy, and then a
how-
lot of fun times afterwards.
How hot was it? Oh my God.
It's the
was-
South in the summer.
Oh,
yeah.
it was so.
I have a quick question before we get off of Friday because
So
you said
hot.
that
Oh.
their testing was terrible. Did they do like day
Fuck
and
terrible.
night, or what was wrong with the testing?
Well, Matt, why don't you talk about
like
testing? and
a
I'll-
sentence
They
or two
have-
less.
Yeah, so they set it up. It's the only track that does this. They have, I mean, sometimes you'll see other tracks where they'll allow other non-Lemons cars on,
Mhm.
and that's okay, but it's one of the
HDR, for
only-
example.
Right. It's one of the only test days at a Lemons where they set it up in stints. So there were 6 stints during the day that were 20 minutes each, which is balls. Because, like,
Yeah.
just by the time you
It's
get comfortable in the
expensive.
car, it's friggin' expensive. And just by the time you get comfortable in the car, you're coming back in. So it's just horrible. It's very expensive. It's not well run.
Yeah.
Or if anybody breaks, they make everybody stop.
They take
Tow
it
it
out
in.
of
Exactly. And that happened
that
like
time.
exactly. Like 4 of the stints got cut in half because they stopped the whole track day to go pull this thing in. It's like whatever. It's terrible. I talked to Eric about it, Eric Rude, and he's like, yeah, we have done some like Lemon sponsored test days here and there. Maybe we'll think about doing that at CMP. I was like, dude, call us. Like, we'll figure this shiz out, you know? So
Like,
Because they're trying to run it like a conventional track day, and 20-minute sessions are good for a street car because you'll start cooking through brakes. But when you're trying to learn a track or test your race car, 20 minutes doesn't even get
Not
the
enough.
fluids
And
up to
it'd
temp.
be one thing if it were 20 minutes and then off for 5, 20 minutes off for 5, 20 minutes off
Yeah.
for 5. No, they intersperse it with non-Lemons groups.
yeah, there's
So you-
3 groups. So like
Right.
you're
Mm.
Yeah.
And every
So
time
you-
they kept saying like, "Wait, is that us?" And then at one point you were like,
Yeah.
you had to go to BS. You had to go to
That's
to go
right.
get tech.
We had to go
so
tech.
you missed one, and they were like, "Why aren't you there?" They're like, "Because I had to be here for my time."
And, we paid $700 for our 2 cars to be on track.
Holy
And-
slap!
Yeah, it was like
Yeah,
$350 a
missed
car.
it, like 2.
It's BS, man.
Yeah.
It is BS. Anyway,
Yeah.
Yeah.
not real pleased about the track day. One of the benefits of the track day was because we had time between stints, I actually had time to do some carburetor tuning on the old Firebird.
Nice.
Nice.
Did some jet changes, midday, which my father would be proud.
That's what I said. I was like,
Hell
It
yeah.
seemed to work well. The car had some good
Oh,
power.
the car's
on it.
great. Yeah.
Alex
Great.
Levinson posted on Facebook about driving the Firebird. He said, I finally built the courage after, an extended period of time in the Firebird to open the secondaries, and a world opened up to me that I did not know existed before.
No, the car's a friggin' monster. I mean, it's a sledgehammer. It's not the most nimble thing out there, but it's got a lot of tire and it makes a lot of power, and it brakes really hard.
Yeah.
you
I
also.
I had it out for 2 hours. I did the sunrise shift, excuse me.
We're not
first
there
time
yet.
driving the bird.
We're not there
Okay,
yet.
Sorry,
Just
I was just
hold
talking
on.
about the bird.
We have tested. There was testing on Friday night as well.
Yes. So they did a
Yes.
1 hour test after dark, so everybody get their lights going, whatnot. I had done the last stint in the Firebird. So we had 6 drivers. It was a mix of characters. Alex was one of them. We've mentioned him a couple times. We had Amanda as well. Brandon and Laura were our team along with Dean and I. And so I had gotten the last stint in the Firebird, and I noticed there's quite a bit of just noise in the drivetrain. So, I'm on the radio like we gotta look at this. Drive shaft seems like it's making noise, something like that. Blah blah blah. So, we come in after that stint, put the car up. We had time to mess with stuff, which is good. Swapped a U-joint in the back of the drive shaft. And as I put it back in, I was really struggling to get it centered in the yoke on the rear, and it didn't make sense to me. And it's been a long day, whatnot. We were drinking beers at that point. No, not yet. No, because we weren't done yet. We were not drinking yet.
So you had the night shift.
That's right. So anyway, I get it in. We're running out of time. I get it in, bolt it up. Everything goes in tight. It's fine. Dean goes out first in the night stint, and he made it a half a lap and spat the drive shaft out of the car.
No, that's exciting.
Very exciting.
He's like, something broke.
Yeah, and he's yelling on the radio, something broke. I'm like, dude, what broke? Well, something broke. Anyway, whatever. Talk about that later because there's more of that, which is awesome. But so he gets pulled in by the CMP clowns, and they make it just off the track, and I guess they stop at that point, like ask him where he's going, whatnot. And when they go to restart, the dude apparently punched it, ripped the entire front of the car off. So that bumper had been on that car. That bumper had, the bumper support, the support structure had been on the car for 27 races.
Not the fiberglass nose, the bumper.
Oh, no, he ripped the entire metal bumper. All the factory hardware that holds it all together all got ripped off.
And this is in the dark, so that doesn't help anybody. But they were using
we'll come back to this, but the Van Buren boys, turns out, were the guys that pushed the car back to the paddock. So thank them very much for that.
Thank you. Yes.
And we had just put that new nose on the car a day or two before, and it got friggin' shredded. So yeah, I was really pissed. We spent the rest, the next 3 hours
look nice.
Putting that back together, and we realized what happened with the drive shaft, which thankfully they were able to recover from the track. There's some clips on the inside of the U-joint that center it in the yoke, and some of us thought you didn't need those, and you really need those. So there's nothing else that really...
That's, yes.
Don't put your U-joint... So the thing is, the box opens, and there's a U-joint, and there's clips.
Use the clips.
You don't need those. This is totally like Jeff. I was thinking of Jeff saying, you don't need that. It cuts off the ground. And you're like, we do need that.
I was thinking about Alan only putting one screw in the rotor in the
Mustang.
The Mustang, the distributor rotor. He has two little screws that
you don't need them all.
One will be fine.
That was the first dong stepping moment of the race, and had that not happened, I'd still have a nose on the car. That wasn't shredded. Anyway, that's Friday. It was a long day.
It was a long day.
It was a long friggin' day.
Oh.
And then we still had a good time Friday night, normal, because everyone's making the most of having a social time.
You're not going to get to party Saturday night.
It's the only social time you get at the 24, right?
Yeah, but everyone
we were
also
good about wearing our masks, and we weren't in our paddocks, and
absolutely. And like the last race, continue to remind each other, you're going somewhere. Don't forget.
Mask up.
Yeah, right.
It was hard because you get used to being in your own paddock space. You spend so much time there. You go to run to the John, and you're oh shoot, I got to go back and grab my mask.
Wash up, mask up, back up.
Most people were good about it, though. I got to say.
Yeah. I mean, everybody at the track, absolutely.
Cool.
Okay.
I would say, what makes a great mask is your balaclava, or say you're going to an airport, a helmet.
Yep.
Yep.
It's a good look.
It is.
The only other thing I'll mention from Friday is they classed the Firebird in A, and we did talk them into classing the 944 in B because it's had such a bad history, and we had new to the car drivers. So we really didn't know what was going to happen.
And the suspension doesn't seem all that cheaty on it. It's pretty high up. It's not super stiff.
No,
compared to some of the other ones.
It's better than stock, but it's not it's nothing super cheaty as far as there's some cheaty things that keep it reliable, but that's because we blew the damn thing up so many times.
But again, that's how you end up. That's how Betty was in B forever, because Betty always either
stepped on their
blew
dong
up or stepped on her dong.
Yeah.
Yep.
A-class car, C-class drivers. It's right in the B.
B-class car.
Yep.
They
I saw
bought
the
it.
Cressida got away with it for a while. They're like, no, we're not that good. And then they won B and top 10 ever since. Right. Yep. All right. So how was the driving out there?
Wait,
Mentally,
we didn't get through Saturday.
well, that was Friday. We just talked
That
about
was Friday.
Yes, right.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is the race. Let's talk about
Okay.
how the driving was.
So I
Mental, you started off the day on Saturday. How
I
was
did.
it?
And so thank you to everyone on this screen for letting me do that. And for those who haven't
Jeff
picked-
didn't help you with that, but
No, Jeff
Or me.
didn't help at all. You were supportive. You were morally supportive.
Of course.
I heard you on the radio. For those who are watching this and may not know, there were two idiots that tried to do two 24-hour races on the same day. It was me and a guy named Derek Steinkamp, who I ended up having a great time with. There's some great Lemons publicity that's going to show up on it. We'll talk about that as it happens. So we got to start on pole, but as we're lining up the BMW, the brake lights weren't ready. So we succumbed to the number one spot for the parade laps to the Mustang. And then the BMW got out there and we were out there. So how was the driving? There's a link. There's a link in our show notes to Rob Leone's post. I love this.
It was great. I've watched it. Yeah.
So you see the Mustang, you see the green flag, he hammers it, he gets through turn one, he gets through turn two, he gets held up by a Thunderbird that I saw get pulled in no less than 6 times during my 2-hour stint. That caused a yellow flag every time. But he gets held up behind his Thunderbird and literally it goes Beamer, Firebird, GTI. It like in a
It was like being
ego-crushing-
passed by an airplane. It was the differential of speed was just like it was like
And
a boy playing with men. That's all I'm going to say.
Yes, and Dean was in the Firebird, and when Matt talks about that thing is it is Thor's hammer. Dear God,
Sledgehammer.
and every time we get on the straightaway, and I was like, oh God, I'm gonna have to point him by because holy snakes, he is on me. And then I could weasel it through a corner and pull. But then, God, I am here. Yes. And so we had a great time. Now, for the time that I was out there, it actually didn't feel like that much of an East Coast race until it did.
Southeast races were usually not as bad as Northeast races.
Correct. Yeah, it was just there was not a lot of nose chopping. And what was great is as we caught back up to the field, and this was us, it was me and Dean. As we caught back up to the field, people knew. They're like, oh, okay, here come the fast guys. And they were extremely predictable, got a few point buys, but I never felt like I was bad right up until we got the red flag, which is a big deal. This is by no means blame. Lemons has done their job. They are working through this. But what happened is this was towards the end of the 2-hour stint, or a little over 2 hours in. The Mustang coming into a corner got cut off a little bit by a back marker car, jumped on the brakes in the kink. The rear end stepped out. The driver steered into it, got traction, found themselves pointed at a Volvo that was trying to avoid them, caught the Volvo right in the door, pushed them into the mud. And of course, it's been raining in South Carolina for days. The mud is soft. The Volvo rolls. We've got a red flag. Shut it down. Shortly after
Everybody's
that, I got
okay.
out of the-
Let's make that clear.
Yes,
Everybody's
I'm
fine.
sorry. Thank you, Chris. You are absolutely 100%. And this is the thing is I there's a tendency to always want to assign blame, and we are all blessed with not having to do that. We don't have to make those assessments. My casual observer status, and I was talking with Craigers, who was right behind me in the Del Sol. Our thing is that everyone did what they were supposed to do. Just, dude, racing is dangerous. And this is why we wear the gear. So God bless good race gear, but both those cars are a write-off. And so that was scary. And so we got to do the red flag dance for a little bit and then bring it back in. I was really, really happy with the driving. And we're going to shift gears a little bit because I ended up in Colorado. And Colorado, even though South Carolina was doing a really good job, Colorado was like, everybody's a hippie. Hey, man, it's cool. You're faster than me. Come on by, man. It's awesome. Yeah. Hey, man, I'm faster than you. So, if you just give me like a point by, I'm going to wait till the straightaway, man. It's awesome. So there was a great contrast, but I was really happy with the driving at CMP.
Don't worry, New Hampshire will ruin it for you again.
Without a doubt.
Well, and I'm coming off the contrast of Thompson, so yeah.
And Thompson was one of the cleaner Northeast races.
Absolutely, but it was fun.
Nah, y'all need to all race in Colorado, man.
It's a cool track, and it's
they
great,
get endurance racing,
yeah.
and it's a great, and it's a lot of people we already know from some Midwest races, but it's a great crowd.
Yep. Cool. Yeah. I mean, Matt, you were out there for a long time.
I did a lot of stints over the weekend. So I'll try to keep it relatively brief, but yeah, so we had 6 drivers. We ended up getting in 2 cars.
Yeah.
We ended up getting all 6 drivers at least one stint in each car. Maybe Alex didn't do a stint in the Firebird, but anyway, anybody who wanted a stint in each car got a stint in each car. I did a little more than most because it's our car, and
damn it, you earned it.
And I was gonna
but
say,
yeah, so first stint, Dean's out there,
and your diesel is fuck, and you're gonna be like, yeah, I'm driving it.
I was not fastest. Laura was fastest. Yeah, Dean goes out, and of course we're nervous about the drive shaft because of what just happened the night before, and he's on the radio. He's like, something's wrong with the car. I'm like, Dean, okay, like what? Like, what is it?
Race is on.
That was so
yeah, we're racing.
And you were winning for a while.
Yeah, we're in first place on that. And he's like, something's wrong with the car. And I'm like, well, Dean, like, what is he? He's like, it's in the drivetrain. I'm like, okay. Is it the drive shaft? Is it going to come out? Is it a bad wheel? He's like, yeah, he had a hard time putting to words what was wrong with the car. So I was like,
you're like, that's exactly what it was doing yesterday, and you told me to harden up. So just harden up and drive the car.
Yeah. We're like, don't come in because
don't come in. You're winning.
We said.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
what am I gonna check?
Yeah, and so the other fun piece around that time, I get a text from Kim, one of the organizers, and she's like, "Hey, we noticed that your transponders are both not showing that they're not going to last 24 hours," and we're like.
I think we told you that. We had this conversation because we were and we had another conversation with Johan who did the same thing.
So dumb. Anyway, we'll come back to that. But so the 944 is just going round and round. Dean had put a pumping mechanism in the 944 so that you could have a reservoir of oil because it uses oil with the motor that's in it. And rather than, so when you after driving it for a few hours, you'll notice, you'll start to get a little bit of a dip in certain turns. You just go give it a couple pumps and it fills up the motor again. It's freaking brilliant.
I didn't know
I've
that.
heard about this in other people's cars.
It is the most lemony thing. I couldn't believe.
I've heard people just using the windshield washer.
He put a manual pump, so like.
Oh, okay. Oh, like squish.
Yeah, squish like a transfer pump. The driver reaches over and you pump it, and.
I'm imagining like a super soaker.
Absolutely best. So I go out in the Firebird, and like you say, things are pretty good. The track it's a big track, it's a fast track. Car's running well, but it's got a lot of noise in the suspension, and it was underpowered. Firebird was not running right, so. But of course, my radio
was underpowered.
Underpowered.
Yes, you'll find out why soon.
If only someone screwed with the jets.
Oh.
It felt like it was running just like lugging, like it was missing, and I couldn't pass stuff like it normally can. So, but I'm radioing in, and this went on for like a while because there's other stuff going on with the Porsche. And I'm like, okay, guys, let's get the spare drive shaft because it's doing it under all RPM. It's doing it on throttle, off throttle. It gets worse at high RPM. Very clearly a drive shaft. Should have been explained earlier, but anyway. So very clearly drive shaft. So like, get this ready, right? And I'm like, oh, and by the way, it's not running right. We got to check, get a set of plugs ready, get wires ready, because it's running on 7 cylinders. Like, it's a hard miss. And this had gone on for like 20, 30 minutes that I was like explaining
this. Is 2:24 is when you came in because I took a picture of it. So that's the only reason why.
So 3.5 hours into the race.
So, and they kept telling me stay out because they were doing something with the 944 or whatever. I don't even remember now exactly.
We're eating ice cream. Don't come in.
But I came in and we're like, okay, let's do this. And I'm like, oh, where's the drive shaft that's ready? And it's not ready. I'm like, oh, where's the plugs that we need? No one had looked for plugs. And I'm like, oh, are the wires ready? no one grabbed wires. And I kind of got pissed off. I'll be honest. I
No
kind
way.
of got pissed off.
Listeners,
I'm like, come on,
remember our
guys.
episode
Like-
about this? You gotta plan it. You gotta plan your pit stops.
Well, I mean, I had been telling people for half an hour, just get the stuff ready, and we'll be really quick to swap it in.
I can say,
we're sitting there screwing around with caps on U-joints and stuff, and it's all should have been done.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So I'm whining, and I know they're all going to watch this and be like, "Well, Matt's an angry."
Those
whatever.
those
Like,
those
come
watching
on.
those watching on YouTube, I want you to notice Chris's smile over here.
I would say that I have participated and helped changing a distributor cap filled with wires on that car
Yeah.
because you were doing extremely well and it was missing and we thought it was faster to do the entire cap. So
Yeah.
I helped somebody. I don't even remember. I think you were in the driver's seat. I don't think you're there.
Who knows?
But man, we flopped that thing in on a hot motor
can
and
do it really quick.
sent it back out in like a
That's
minute.
just it. I mean, you can, if you have the parts ready,
Yeah.
you can do this in 10 minutes.
I mean, the
And so
drive shaft by this
instead-
time is on quick releases because it just comes out. Just
Well,
falls out.
there's some other problems there. Like I said, when you don't put the damn clips in, what do you get what you ask for, or what
Yes.
you anyway. So we did find that there was a bad wire. Swapped the wire. Got the other drive shaft in.
I'm sorry.
I went back
You
out.
have to tell that story because you were like, and you pull the wire off and you're just like, there was no change. So you're like,
Well,
it's
that's
still
the
running.
one.
Right,
That's
right.
the
I mean,
one.
like,
It was the
you
second
just-
one. So the first one I tried, I was grounded against the car, and it whacked the hell out of me.
Yeah.
Oh, I
It'll
didn't
do that.
see that
If you've
part.
ever been hit by an HEI, I
No.
don't recommend it.
No, I
It
didn't-
sucks. It absolutely sucks.
I didn't
Yeah.
see that part. That's why you were so excited when that did nothing.
And then the
You did.
second one I pulled off, and it was just idling at this point, right? We're checking for bad wires, and it didn't change. So, and then we screwed around with pulling the plug out to make sure the plug was okay, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, got it back out. Car ran like a top. Really, the rest of the race. I mean, it
Nice.
really.
Right up,
So
right up till
Saturday
the
was
exhaust
good.
Fell off.
Basically, well, there's
Oh,
another
Sunday.
one in there where in the middle
Yeah.
of the night I may
That
or
was-
may
that's
not
not
have,
about- It's not about
Oh,
running.
yeah, I heard about that.
it was technically Sunday, I think, but yeah, I kind of realigned the car, and I may have mashed up some doors on those fine gentlemen that helped push our car in Friday night.
Oh,
The
nice.
people that you hit?
That's who I hit. And I'm really
well,
sorry,
you know,
guys,
in the
if any
dark,
of them
you don't
watch
realize
this.
who you're hitting. So
No, I knew it was
That
a black car.
too.
Yeah. And they were really, I mean, they came over, talked about it. I've talked to them since. They were super cool about it. I've had a couple offs here and there, right? It happens to everybody.
Let's unrelated to what may or may not have
Yeah.
happened. What's the name of this super cool team?
They are the Van Buren boys.
Oh yeah,
Van Buren
actually
boys. Yeah,
are
they're in
super
a
cool team,
number
yeah.
246 black Subaru.
and literally the whole team came to push over the Firebird when it
Yeah.
failed. Yep.
Nice.
So backing up, we'll still talk about Sunday a little bit. So I did my two stints in the one stint in the Firebird. Then as it came to dusk, I jumped in the 944. And this is my first time. I had run in the dark a little bit with the broken Ernie years ago, and I didn't do much of it. But anyway, I'm driving around the 944, and the lights are terrible, like butt terrible. So we used the stock headlights and just add side pointers. Don't do that, folks.
Not enough light, huh?
Oh my God, like no light. I mean, especially in the back roundabout, what is it, like 4 or 5, whatever it is back there
Yeah.
in the woods? I mean, I might as well have been on friggin' Pluto.
And
there was-
what is
if
the-
you've never,
what is this
if
thing?
you've
It's
never
like
been to CMP, you're in the
There's no
weeds.
lights.
No
and
light.
it's-
You're in the woods.
Yeah.
You are
you're in
out
the
in the middle of
woods.
nowhere. And in fact, and I don't mean to derail your story.
You're good.
During my stint, we had an extended yellow flag because some rando comes walking through the woods onto the track on that back straightaway where you hook up to
watching
before
the
you go.
track, watching the race.
Yeah, he just like walks up and they're like, what the hell? And they send out that LTD with that they've got the cop lights on to go over there and like, dude, we've got a car race going on. And he's like, I'm fine. And like, you are the part of the turn where everyone goes sliding at 100 miles an hour. That was I couldn't speak
and so
on
that's
the radio.
that,
but
right
that
around
was-
right around then is when they shut the track down. And so we
Yeah.
took that opportunity to fix. It had rained a bit. We didn't talk about that. We will a little bit, but We took an opportunity to like fix the wipers in the Bird and clean the windshields, and we actually rotated tires on the Bird, which is a good thing. We had an opportunity to do that. We would have been off for that otherwise.
Well, let's talk about that red flag, because that was an interesting thing.
The second red flag.
Yeah,
there was another one.
Sorry, black all.
Well, yeah, there was a black flag all because, Chrissy, you know the story better than I do.
Oh, it's fine. Well,
someone was on the radio.
Yeah, somebody's on the radio. So Lemons. So Jay gets on the radio. This is at 9.
It was dark. Yeah.
About that 9 o'clock maybe.
And raining.
It was before dinner because we were supposed to have dinner, and that's why we ended up eating so late. So 8 o'clock, something like that. And they black flag all. And Jay's on the radio, and he is so pissed.
You mean like the PA, right?
The PA, yes.
Yeah,
he's
PA.
on the radio and on the intercom, which in this paddock is terrible. You can hear, if you stand on one side of the garage, you can hear it. But if you stand on the other side of the garage, you can't hear it. And if you're in Itchy 5, which is what I call it, in the freaking middle of nowhere in the paddock, your paddock is in the dark, in the woods.
This is Jay. I'm very mad.
No, you can't even hear it that one.
This is Jay. I'm very mad.
It's even worse
Not
than that.
even, yeah.
No. Yeah, right. So people keep coming up to me and they're like, what's wrong? So here, Jay gets on and says, somebody is on the track radio. We have to shut the race down until somebody comes back on and figures out who is tapping into the radio that talks between the track and Lemons. And he's like,
it wasn't even like the flagger radios.
Well, I know it's something
It was like
I think
control, like race control.
Race control, and right. So somebody's tapped into this, but it's 8 or 9 o'clock, and we're all looking at each other and going like, who would change radios at this point? If there's some kind of interference, none of us would do that. And then we also said, why would one of us, like, if you're that guy, turn it off, right? Like, hopefully you have literally stopped a race. Why are you doing this? So we're all looking at each other, and people are just like, there's an accident or something? No, it's just because Jay's all mad. So Matt, your team took serious advantage of this time.
Yeah.
It was probably
and people hustled. It was really well organized, and maybe not that much. Yeah, not even that much, but no, everybody hustled. We got, like I said, we got the wheels swapped really quick, and kind of just buttoned things up, topped up oil.
You did transponder then for the?
Oh no, we forgot to do the transponder on the Firebird.
Oh man,
yes.
You're just
so
stepping on
I'm back. I'm getting ahead of myself. We should have done the transponder when it came in for the drive shaft and bad wire, and we forgot because we were too revved up with the other things. But
were you just going to swap it with a known different unit, or?
Well, yeah, we used Jim's transponder, and we rented another one, one for each.
The one thing that you did find during this black flag all was when you took off the hood, you found that the carburetor was not attached anymore.
Oh yeah, the air cleaner came loose because Laura had put it in from the top instead of
she was like, oh, I didn't realize that's how it works. Yes.
Thankfully, it can't go anywhere, but
it's fine. It'll be fine.
So both cars.
Probably
this is
fine.
Stupid. This is absolutely stupid. Both cars ran to the point where the transponder stopped.
Wow.
So Alex went and did the math, and the 944 actually went around 11 or 12 more times than were counted.
And
so
which would have put you where?
5 laps ahead of the winner.
Wow.
Right. Oh, Jeff's here with the trombone.
Yep. But it's cool. We won B overalls. I mean, whatever. But it's just. I mean, you could say that about half a dozen other things, but that one was dumb.
Yes.
So much so.
That one's dumb.
If Woody would have called the police, none of this would have happened. But whatever. Let me just check. Have you ever won overall?
No. Best the Firebird ever did was second at Stafford in 2011.
Stafford.
And it was first in class because that's back when they used to do overalls separate than A.
Yeah.
But no, we have like over 10 third place finishes in that car. We're like the always third place team, and that's fine.
So on our Slack, the joke is they're not the bridesmaid. They're the drunk bridesmaid.
Which has the most fun.
Because she doesn't have to make a toast. She's just back there pounding shots.
I'm telling you.
Doesn't have anything to do. Didn't
Just
come
here
with a
to party.
date.
Okay,
Just
so
here to party.
She's going to have a date by the time she leaves.
Doesn't
though.
have to fix the train.
Okay, all right, let's move on. So the black flag, it happened. So everybody's running around. You guys are doing a great job. And then finally, they came back on the radio, and Jay was like, "So, it was us."
What?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, that's why he came on and apologized, because he said, "Oh wait, we were the ones who messed up. It was our radio interfering with race control and all the above." So everybody went back on track.
Freaking hilarious. Now I just have to ask.
It says a lot about Jay. It says a lot about Jay that he's willing.
You should just yell.
Because I can't imagine a Lemons team staying on there and screwing it up for everybody. So
especially stopping the race and not getting off.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you know that you're stopping the race, I would have been like, just change it. Jim.
Bro, we got to go to 2. We got to go to 2.
Everybody go to 2. Yeah.
Well, unless you don't even know, right? Unless you don't know, like.
But why not?
That's what
9 o'clock, right? Like, why would have that all of a sudden stopped the race at you know?
That's what we were discussing, because we were talking about it, and I said somebody probably has their radios on privacy channel and doesn't even realize that they're on the same channel.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So that's
why. But as it turned out, Jay had the integrity to admit. So
whoops.
Well, it's
all
the
right.
only way to do it, really.
Yep.
So back to driving at night. It did get rainy in the afternoon before nightfall, and as pretty much the first stints in the 944 and the Firebird I was in the 944, Dean's in the Firebird. It was probably pretty much the only time we were on track at the same time, which was fun for a bit. But yeah, I got no lights basically, and I can remember, turn 1, 2, 3, whatever it is, into the carousel back there in the woods, and you just can't see anything unless there's other cars there. I mean, the cars are actually very fast around turns, but I could only do it when there's other cars there.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
you need a car in front of you for their
I
lights.
can't see anything.
You're like, oh, good.
And when other cars are around, I'm like, oh, okay, now it's party time. Like,
Yeah.
But I can distinctly remember turning in a little bit too hot into that last left turn before the carousel.
yeah.
And I overshot my mark because you just can't see the turn-in point. And I went into the grass on the inside, and I just kind of kept my speed, kept it straight, got back on the track, kept going. And I'm thinking to myself, like, should I self-report? Like, okay, sorry, Jay. Like, I didn't self-report, but no harm, no foul. We kept driving. But, like, I'm thinking to myself, like, this is flipping dangerous. I mean, I'm watching, like, seriously, and I'm a pretty, like, I've got nerves in a car. I'm going on 50 races with Lemons at this point, and it's like this is friggin' dangerous. People are flying by you. I mean, some of the fast cars, like that Jeep, and actually Darren's
Oh my God, that
Mercedes.
Jeep was stupid quick.
Holy shit, was that car fast? And I'm like, these guys are just going balls out, like driving just like it's daytime. I'm like, someone's gonna friggin' die. And so it took me a while. I mean, honestly, I was pretty uncomfortable for a while. But that's a 3-hour stint in the 944. So after an hour 20, somewhere in there, I finally settled in. I would either find someone my speed to use their lights so I could drive fast.
Totally.
You start to use different senses, right? Your turn-in points are different. You're looking for different markers in the track, or you're counting things. Like, it really was fun for me after a while.
You're listening and you're feeling it with your butt. Yeah.
There's a lot of muscle memory that's involved in it.
That's right. And I as much as the first hour, I'm like, I'm never friggin' doing this again. The next 2 hours are like, I love this and I can't wait to do this again. Because it makes you use, like I said, it makes you use different senses.
I'm still super jelly that I've never done a 24.
Don't talk to any of us about doing this again anytime soon.
That's what I said. That's what I said. The bad part thing is
I will do it tomorrow.
All you hosers are going to go down there and do it.
Yeah,
and
Mental, you'll do it tomorrow.
It's my turn.
Mental fly in, break someone's car, and then leave
Fly the
anytime
fuck
you
out.
want him
Exactly.
to do it. Right.
That's the way to do a 24, man.
Yeah. Well, and the other
I'll
part
learn
was
that later.
it was raining when it got dark, so everyone's trying to get comfortable in the car in the friggin' rain in the dark. It was just.
And it was really on-off rain. Like, it would rain pretty hard for a half an hour and then come and go.
Can we mention that CMP just got a new pavement, right? So when it got
glorious.
wet, I assumed it was a little slipperier than usual.
Yeah, it was gnarly. Honestly, the track was really good, other than the turn before the kink, that kind of fast right-hander before the straightaway before the kink. My numbers are bad.
No, I got you.
That's 8.
8, yeah. So in 8, you're hard on the brakes there. Kind of you're going downhill and you're hard on the brakes, and then kind of uphill through the turn. That point where you want to be jumping on the brakes, there's like 2 whoopties there.
Yeah.
And in the 944, I barely noticed it. In the
In
Firebird,
your ass
you're
is
like bang, bang over those things
Solid.
and unloading the suspension. And like that
Solid
thing's
rear
really good
axle.
at making tires square if you don't do it right. So that was a gnarly. It was kind of like pretty gnarly in the Firebird, and that's the only spot that I noticed that they probably should fix.
But the fact that a set of tires lasted a whole 24-hour race, that's never happened at CMP before,
Yeah.
ever.
No,
So,
ever.
yeah.
And what I liked about the repave is there were certain turns where you knew, like New Jersey, we've talked about this. There are certain turns where you know that's where everybody's transmission and rear end blows up because it's always greasy as soon as it gets humid, much less rain. And at CMP, it really flattened the grip line because there were a lot of repairs. There were a lot of smooth pavement and rough pavement, and you were constantly evaluating the surface. And with bad headlights, I wouldn't even want to think about trying to do that. I was really happy with the repave, but I was running in the day in a very well sorted car that the suspension on that thing was friggin' primo. And I was supreme. I was beyond confident in the BMW. I was cocky in the turn.
It's fun.
No.
I wish I got to drive
Wait
it.
a minute. Mental.
Oh,
It's about time we talk about the BMW.
Yeah, go
So
ahead.
Mental takes it out.
Let's talk about the BMW. So Hamza spent all of Coronation going through that car and making sure it was ready. And then I think he did it twice because he was bored.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he wanted to have the second engine ready to go.
Well, he made his 4-year-old do it just for practice, so she could.
Yeah.
She's got little fingers. That works well.
Gets in small spaces.
She's
So
legit
Mental
like
takes it out.
smarter than me.
So,
Oh,
so
yeah.
yeah, well, and I think this leads into the how's the car. So I was in the BMW and the infamous flat earth Nissan that we race, and it was a great car. And there is a link in the show notes of the green flag. Go back and watch it again because it's so funny. So I took the BMW out, and I was trying to be delicate because this car had to last another 22 hours after I get out. And one of the conversations Chris and I had was Chris told me I'm not braking hard enough because I'm trying to be delicate with it. And I wasn't engaging the ABS and I was getting some brake wobble. So I felt like I was being delicate. And then I was given license to start driving it harder.
Yeah, you have to. If you don't push the brakes hard enough on that car, they pulsate. So not the ABS. The ABS does not work. But anyway. So you had 2 hours of lovely racing. Except that after you pushed it hard, what happened?
Well, so as I start to push it hard, I notice the temperature gauge is starting. I don't even say creep. The temperature gauge is right where it's supposed to be. And then it's over here with the red light flashing.
That's how E36s work. The temperature gauge is an idiot light in disguise. The range of straight up and down is like 40 degrees. And then once you're 1 degree over that, bing, red. So
I know I'm hard on machinery. And I am, that's like one of my focuses this year is like to not be that guy. I don't want you to get in the car after me and have warped rotors and stuff like that. And we talked about this at Thompson. So I see the as the gauge starts to move, I'm already, well, I didn't have a microphone because my microphone has never worked in Hamza's car ever. But
when you said, but you're not going to hear me anyway. So what's the point? That's the one time I heard you.
The one time. And so I bring it in because it's overheating and I've got the red light and the needle over in the hot. And I mean, as I'm pulling it in, Chrissy sees me coming down pit row and barks off at everyone and everyone scrambles up and they have no idea why I'm coming in, but they're coming in. So they've got the temperature gauge. They've got the code reader. They got everything on this car. Chris, take it from here because you and Hamza were out of the car working on it.
Essentially, we figured, okay, it's hot. What's going on? We ran all the temperatures off the thermostat housing, off the radiator necks. Everything looked okay. We figured, there's just probably a air bubble in it that we couldn't burp out because these cars are kind of hard to burp. And this is the first time it's been run hard. You know, it idled in Hamza's driveway for an hour, sure, but that's different. So we get the cap open after letting it, the steam bleed out. Put 1.5 gallons of water in it and said, okay, that's probably it. That's a lot more than we expected to put in, but all right, fine. Send it back out. 5 laps later, he's back. We do the same thing. Like, we're stumped at this point. We're like, there's everything. Like, the temps are fine everywhere. How is this even happening? Send him out again. Comes back. This point, we're like, all right, let's stop.
And this is how it goes.
And
For a
then
while, and if I was on it, it would stay fine. But as soon as I would catch into traffic, or we would get another yellow flag, usually because of that Thunderbird, or say or say because of a red flag, it goes right to FU, need cyan on the temperature gauge.
This point, we had put like 3 gallons of water through the motor, and it still wasn't cooling off. The temperature sensor seemed okay. The temperatures were fine at the thermostat housing. So we said, you know what, let's just let it cool off. Let's check a couple things. And one of those things was compression. We said it could be a head gasket. Let's try it. So we did the first cylinder, 175. All right, that's fine. A little low, but the consistency is what matters.
Can I pause you here?
Oh, Mental had already left at this point. By the way.
So I've done 2 hours.
Broken. I gotta go.
Yeah, I've done 2 hours and 15 minutes. I've done 2 hours and 50 minutes. I bring it in. Jim he is suited up. He is ready to go. His mind's in the right place. And I gave him a broken car, hopped in my rental, and said, "Deuces, I'm out."
Yep.
My poor brother.
So 175 was the first one. Second cylinder, 90.
90, huh?
Yep. And then 60.
Ooh.
And then another 60. And then back up to 125 and then 120. Like at this point, like, I was hitting the starter. And when we did that second one, and you can hear the compression bumps just aren't good. Like, as it turns over, like,
and by the
I don't even look. That's bad.
Right? The third one, we were like, wait, the gauge has got to be broken. We switched gauges. No, we literally do. We switched gauges because we had two.
We thought user error. Like error. We did the gauge wrong. So he put it back in the first cylinder hole. And it was back
so basically what you're saying is Hamza trusted the machine more than he trusted the meat bag. You're like, no, my car is fine. It must be the.
We knew something was wrong.
We knew something was wrong. So,
we just hoped.
So anyway, we then said, well, if it's the head gasket's gone, the head's probably warped too because it's 3 cylinders right in a row. Like let's swap the powertrain. Because
by this point, I am now crossing the border into Georgia on my way back to it.
Oh yeah, we were at the airport at this point. So we start tearing everything apart, and because Hamza had a spare powertrain, it was a junkyard motor with a head that he had checked just to make sure it was okay, and a junkyard transmission that we got from Amanda actually, and a new clutch. So that was all together, ready to go. So we pulled the whole thing out, had to swap a bunch of stuff between the motors. That took a long time. Had a broken exhaust stud, and we didn't have a press to press that out. So what I found was a 20-yard dumpster and a floor jack and socket and a hammer, and proceeded to do that. And the track guys who did the trash, who did a great job this weekend, they were all over that.
They did. Yes, they did.
They stopped, as I was there, like, you all right? I was like, and I explained what I was doing. They're like, that's a good idea. All right.
Not your first time making a press.
Chrissy, do you have the picture of Hamza laying in the empty engine bay?
I do. Yeah. So I was just looking. Yeah. So we were doing the compression the same times as the Firebird was in doing the drive shaft, and that was a 225-ish. We had the engine out by 4:30, and yes, and that's Hamza.
Sorry, you folks on YouTube can't see this. So that's the race car that I have been driving a mere 3.5 hours before.
Yeah,
Chrissy, you should be able to share the screen.
Yeah, it's fine.
We
swapped all the sensors over.
My phone.
And then got everything back in. It was getting late at this point though, and we got to the point where we put some water in it. It's like 10 o'clock, and it's pouring water out of the back of the head. So that was spent another hour getting there's a blacking plate plug that was there that was leaking. So we got that done, and then we said, all right, we can start this thing. It's like midnight now, and we go to start it, and we leak fuel. Oh, we forgot the fuel lines. I put those back on, and then finally crank it over. And it catches a little and dies, but that's normal in a fresh swapped motor. Do it again, same thing, but a little bit better. Do it a third time, it's just click, click, click.
Starter click.
Yeah, whenever I hit the thing, not turning over.
It made a sound before that, though. I was standing next to Hamza. So back up just a little bit. 7:30. We feel like we're doing really well here. Or he said it was 7:30. We say, Jim, go take a nap. we're hopeful that in the next couple hours
true.
we're going to
We
be
did
ready to go, right? So we say, Jim, just go get ready. Or she's like, okay, great, I'll go take a nap. And by then, I guess we had dinner. I think he had dinner.
That dinner,
know.
it was right around there. Anyway, so Jim goes to bed at 7:30.
Right, so we say go to bed. So then and so then we're working on the car, and then so back to when we're starting the engine. This is now midnight, and all the while we have not woken Jim up. Why wake him up, right? Like we told him to go to bed.
We're not ready, right? So
the car's not ready.
It makes this click, and it's not going anywhere.
But it goes.
It goes click, click. It was the starter clicking, but the motor not turning at all.
Yes.
I get
So we said, maybe the battery's weak because we've been doing this for a while. It's been sitting. We had the lights on earlier. All right, let's put a battery charger on it. Let's go to the bathroom. Relax. Have a snack. So Chrissy brought over meat snacks. We had delicious brisket.
Yeah.
Yes, I just brought a bowl of brisket, a bunch of Oreos, and some Gatorade. None of which go together.
No, don't eat one and then clear your palate.
Yeah, I forgot to say this earlier, and I said it in person, but I didn't need to say it on the show. I showed up 3:00 in the morning. Chrissy gets up, she makes breakfast. I go to take a shower because I haven't showered before I get into the race car. I come back and Chrissy goes, "Hey, I've had to fight like 4 people off of your breakfast. So there's an egg sitting over there in the griddle. You better do it. Eat it." So, but again,
I know.
And we've said this 1,000 times, but this is how Chrissy runs her pit. So
we're not at food yet. Food.
No. I just wanted to say.
Morning.
I wanted to say thank you before I strapped into the car. Thank you, Chrissy.
Welcome.
Anyway, we did the battery charger.
Gatorade battery charger.
Yep. Yes. Comes back, still doing the same thing. Hamza gets in the car at this point, steps on the clutch, hits the starter, motor turns right over, runs great, sounds great. He lets up the clutch, stalls. Car's in neutral. Car is in the air. So here's the short story. What happened? Apparently, there's one brand of clutch that is sold and is commonly used in E36s. And if you follow the instructions for how to install said clutch disc, you will install it backwards. If you then run it while it is installed backwards, it will wedge itself in place in between the powertrain. And then not only can you not run the engine, but you can't even pull the transmission off of the engine without having it without wedges between the engine and trans to put enough pressure to pull it off. We knew this because Hamza was describing the symptoms to Amanda. She said, "Oh yeah, this kind of clutch, right?"
It's wrong.
And he said, "Yeah." He said, "Did you follow the instructions?" He said, "Yeah." I said, so then you put it in backwards. So apparently the same thing happened to Roland in his car, except Roland never got to the point of starting it. And he was able to catch it and pull it back off and redo the whole thing. So
isn't that also what happened to you guys at Laguna?
No,
Laguna was the fork, actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the end of the story. So at this point, it was quite early, late, whatever.
I think it was about 1 a.m.
Yep. And that's it. We went to bed.
No.
Sounds like our experience the year before.
So about 12 hours is what you're saying.
But that's
from about 1 in the afternoon till about 1 in the morning.
So Hamza stayed up till 4 trying
because he decided to take it off. Try to take it off again.
Because he's Hamza.
Right, and it wouldn't come off, and he couldn't get it off. So then we entered a car with no drive shaft, no exhaust, no nothing. The trans hanging by a jack strap. That's it at the end.
Yeah, so but I mean, we went to bed. You got a shower. We went to bed, and then that was at like 1, and then we got up at 4:30.
4:30, because Matt very very kindly offered a shift in the Bird. So
the Bird,
the Bird.
I had a sunrise shift in the Bird from 6 to 8.
So,
and how did you like that Bird?
Well, Mental was desperate to interrupt and talked about something in the meantime.
I have.
Go ahead, Mental.
So as this is happening, as they are giving up on the BMW, I have landed in Denver. I have made my way to the track where of the 2 Miatas of the Inglourious Bastards, one of them had been black flagged for smoking in a race with
bad
2
for your
diesels.
health.
Yeah. In a race with 2 diesels, they black flagged a Miata. So that should give you a scale. They figured out it was rings. So they changed the oil and dumped the heaviest weight oil they possibly could, along with a little bit of, magic in a bottle.
Magical mystery oil.
Right, which always works. And convinced Phil that it's probably fine. Let him go back out. And they put me in the car. So I made it about 45 minutes before I'm black flagged again for having a car that smokes too much. As I pull into pit lane, I push in the clutch, the engine dies, will not turn over again. Complete loss of compression because of the rings. So I have now killed 2 cars.
2 race cars.
Yep.
Oh, mental.
So I get in the bird at 6 o'clock after a delicious 4th meal snack. We'll talk about it in a bit.
Yes, we will.
And I've raced against the Firebird there for many, many years, and Matt and I have even had some good battles back and forth.
Absolutely.
Between the Honda and the Bird, so it's kind of fun. Like, just give it a shot because you've seen it so many times and you race against it, and it's exactly as I expected. If anything, slightly better, and that the steering is very light and you can place it pretty well. Like, it's obviously very well sorted, and then when you get in the straight, you just roll a train past everybody on the inside. That's it. And then you come up and you brake. And I wasn't pushing the car hard at all because, first off, start in the dark. End of the race. It's 6 in the morning. Everyone's really tired. Not my
car. It happens.
Not in contention for anything. So like, I'm gonna go have some fun, but I'm not gonna push this 10 tenths. I'm
85%, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the right speed for all those things. Anyway, having a great time with it, just rolling a train past everybody. And either the new surface there, if you have Falcon Zenith on, it talks to you. The car just howls its way around the track.
I mean, and you know you're doing the right thing because you get.
It just howls its way all the way around.
It's perfect.
And it's just third and fourth gear.
That's it.
And repeat. And it was actually really easy. Except the thing that got me is how big the damn thing is.
Oh,
like, I'm sitting
huge.
there, and the gap to the door is like I could put a person between me and the gap to the door, right? And, I'm used to the Civic. Like, Civic's so little, like I can dice through little bits of traffic. And this, I'm like, no, I'm just gonna give some room here.
Like the boat. The boat was big. It took up a lot of real estate.
Yeah.
But didn't have any power, so
Yeah, this is the opposite. There's all the power you need, but it's not. But it's very easy to control. The whole thing was easy to control and fairly easy to drive. I got to say, easier than I thought it would be. Put it that way.
It's a lot better than it used to be. I will.
It's
say.
very dirty
it's
too.
A lot better than it used to be.
She's a dirty bird.
Yeah, like
dirty bird.
Usually I run with my visor part way up just to get some airflow. I had to shut it because I kept getting dust in my eyes. Like, to the point I'm closing an eye and in the dark trying to race because it's full of grit and I'm trying to take the grit out of my eye.
It's weird. So again, for all the listeners, it's got T-tops and we run with them off, so you have to have arm restraints on. So like it doesn't really make sense to have dirty air. There's no rear glass. There's no top on it. Like, why is there dirty air in the car? It's weird.
I don't know. I think it might be blowing in through the hatch or something.
Jackie said that they power washed it too. So it's not even like it's.
No, but after that much racing, like, there's so much stuff kicks up into it.
But we've been talking about trying to clean up the airflow through the car somehow, and I'm not sure what to do about that.
But the Bird was good. Racing at night is tough with all the LED light bars. Most of them are just the cheap ass ones that there's glare, and so as soon as you get that just bright spot in your mirror, you can't see anything in front of you anymore. So you're better off like just running. If you fortunately the Firebird, I just kind of run away from everybody, and you're okay, and then find someone to use their lights and whatnot.
Well, and the Firebird had reasonable lights. It still needed more, but it was not nearly as bad as the 944.
No, it was not. No, but it was about right. It was not so much to be obnoxious, not too little that you really couldn't see. You still had to use other people's lights and whatnot, but it was fine. It was a good time. 2 hours clean, no problems. Gave the car back as it was.
Kind of funny. Can you tell a short story
anything.
about Dean being mad at you for not racing fast enough?
Yeah, toward the end of Dean's shift, he comes. I passed him, and there's some traffic, so I slow down a little bit. Just all right, I'm going to let this.
He's the 944.
Yeah, he's the 944, and he comes right back up behind me. He's about to pit, but they're in third too. So like, I want to stay out of his way. Like, they are the 944 is the priority here, not the failboard in 13th. So he comes up next to me, and I just kind of leave the door open, and I get on the radio. It's like, yeah, Dean, you go on inside.
Yeah, go.
Right. And then so later on, he apologizes. He's like, Hey, sorry about like cutting you off like that. I just saw a gap and I'm going for it. I'm in race mode. It's like, yeah, it's fine, man. No problem.
but
And
he was also.
that car is really fast around turns. It is ridiculously fast turning.
But he was like, "Why aren't you racing?" Like he wanted to race you, and then he was like, and then he's like, "Dean, shut up!" Like he's telling himself, like, "Don't crash your own car." Like he was
into your own car. Don't crash your car.
Right. I was like, "We've done red mist
I've
between
been
cars.
there. I've been there. Like
Yes,
I
we
got
have.
a little too close to the other car. I went, oh, sorry.
Yeah, you guys are not long. You haven't raced long enough with two cars to get red misty between your two cars.
Yeah, I when I was on there, it like the bird every time it would open up on the straightaway, and I think I led 2 laps before I pointed him by. I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing this.
It's fast. Yeah,
It
car's
is.
fast.
Yeah, there's another 24 hours. So when did you got in about 6?
I went in the car around 6, and got out at 8, and all was well. The sunrise shift.
Literally, at the same time, 2,000 miles away, I'm strapping into the 3rd Miata. The 511 car, the yellow one. As the Inglorious Bastards, they've got 2 Miatas. They are set up almost identical, except one is what they call the fat boy car, and one is the skinny boy car. And I had started out in the bad rings in the skinny boy car, and then I had to get in the fat boy car. And the problem with the fat boy car is they do the waist all the way down, and I'm still wiggling in it. And then, it's got the nice big wide seat, and they've dropped the pan in it. But as you were strapping into the Bird, I was strapping into Miata number 2.
Yeah, Bird was great, and it's fine. And then the rest of the morning, it was basically just watching the winners come on in. So, Matt?
If I can back up a little bit,
Yeah.
Before you got in the car, I took my night stint in the Firebird. And I was much more comfortable. Like I said, it took me a while to get comfortable in the 944, so I kind of was feeling better in the dark. The Firebird had way better lights. No issue passing
and
people.
it's home too. How many races have you done? The Firebird's
20,
done
27 or 8 in that car.
of the 30. Yeah, exactly.
I think I only ever missed 2 of them. So I was really comfortable. I was having fun. I was not pushing the car too hard, but still running fast stints. So many people drive tentatively at night, and they should, that I did a lot of passing, and I got pretty comfortable passing.
Yeah, the only car that passed me and stuck in the Bird was the Jeep.
Yeah. Oh, that car
was
pulls
so
away
fast.
from the Firebird.
God, that thing is
As
fast.
fast as the
What
Firebird
kind of
is,
Jeep was this?
the Jeep pulls away from you.
It's an XJ Cherokee as a hat over an SC400.
Oh,
And it just
SC400 now it's making more
Stupid
sense.
fast.
yeah.
Um,
And well driven.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty slow in turns though. It's a drag race, and then you go by them. Whatever.
Yeah.
I'm sure it depends who's driving, et cetera, et cetera. But so after about an hour, I'm chatting with Laura, and I was curious. I'm just like, what's the difference in lap times between my day stint and the night stint? I'm just kind of curious. I'm making small chat because I'm having a good time driving out there. And she's like, oh, you're killing it out there. You're running like 157s, and I'm like, wow, like that's fast actually.
Yeah, it's good speed.
It's really
That's
fast.
fast. And I'm like, well, cool. That's cool. Gotta keep that up. And I'm driving along, and so the end of the straight, turn 1. You go past start finish. There's lights there, and so that you always have bad vision there because there's lights, and then you're going back into dark again, and there's no turning point on the left side. So like you said, Chris, in that car, you just pass people on the inside. That's what you do. It's just a train going by people on the straight. So the braking markers, there were 3 cones and a reflector on the right-hand side. And so you want to be braking at the cones. You want to be turning in at the reflector.
It's turn 1 again, right?
Turn 1, yep.
Yeah. If I kind of remember, like 1, 2, 3 is kind of like a giant
All
open
pretty tight.
field.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it feels like if you just drove straight, you could like just I don't need to be on that side of the road. I'll just go right here.
Yeah. And so
So you're probably getting like headlights into other competitors. Is what I was
coming
getting
from the other side, headed towards the king.
Exactly.
Yes, you see other people coming towards you. But so the braking markers, and all my markers are on the right, and I've been doing this for an hour, and the brakes are really good in that car. I mean, you can stop really hard. And I was passing 2 or 3 cars on the right, racing kind of to the apex, and they see me coming. So they actually left room, and this is the guys with the Subaru, but I couldn't see my braking marker. And this is just as I'm on the radio chatting with Laura about how great I'm doing.
Yeah, that's the way it
You have to
happens.
get your arm to pat yourself on the back in the race.
And it wasn't even that. I just lost my focus, and I didn't have my braking markers. So as I'm jumping on the brakes, I'm like, oh no. And they turned in, and I rearranged their door and changed the alignment really badly in the Firebird.
We've all been there.
Yep.
Well, it's harder in the dark, though. That's the thing. Is like
That's you have to be really focused, and that's just so. And that was a big eye opener for me. It's like, it was a different lap because I couldn't see my braking markers. I should have been much more tentative. But meanwhile, I had huge closing speed on these guys. I'm like, I got tons of room to get around these guys. I didn't.
You just don't know where the end is.
You just don't know where the end is.
I had a conversation with Jerry about that because I strapped into the yellow Firebird, and we were talking the next morning. So I did a 3 to 5 shift, and then got out of the car. As I was getting out of the car, the sun was coming up, and then they put me in to take the checkered flag. But I was talking to Jerry about that. At night, and we've all done it, especially when you start getting into a rhythm and you're almost operating autonomously. You know the turn-in points, but you're not consciously thinking about them. Sometimes you get lost. You get lost on the track.
Yes, you don't know where you are. Yes.
Right. It's not because you've never been there. It's because you've been there so much.
Mm-hmm.
And at night, it is really easy to do. And even when you're not letting your mind wander a little bit, because the turns really all start to look the same. And it's so if you've never raced at night, you've never done a 12 or a 14 or a 24, you've really got to be mindful of where you are.
Yeah. I think CMP is especially dangerous for that because it's flat. It all kind of looks the same. I already mentioned that, a good portion of it's just in a field. So like, absolutely. We're like a New Hampshire,
every single
grandstands, you can see, other things.
Yeah.
So
I would agree with you, except HPR exactly the same way, out in the middle of nowhere. And you're not in the woods because there are no trees. You can't see a tree at HPR. And you can see
that's High Plains in Colorado where you were
correct.
racing. Just making sure everybody knows.
You can see to the next time zone, but you can't see a tree. No.
Well, and at CMP, every single lap, trying to find the turn-in point of the kink.
Yes.
Absolutely impossible.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't see it until you're on top. You're like, oh, turn in now. And you're going 120.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you could be forgiven, especially if you were talking with someone and trying to,
No, I stepped on my dong, but anyway, so
it's better than grabbing it while you're driving. So
stop.
Never.
I had a chat with him about it. I was super
we will
apologetic.
never make that joke. We will never stop making that joke.
You could build all the bridges you want.
But yeah, they had to flatbed me in. The tires are pointed so far out. I had to get flatbedded in. It bent the front, where the steering meets the front of the spindle actually bent.
Oh, wow.
We had done that before in that Firebird. That's like kind of where it fails when you hit something with the wheel. So we actually had a shortened tie rod we had held on to. So I was able to jack it up, use Chris's hub stands. Thank you again.
That's coming
get
handy.
it realigned in a matter of 20 minutes.
Nice.
Awesome.
That's great.
And
really
so I didn't finish my stint, but that's I forget who went in after me. It wasn't you, Chris, was it? No, it was somebody before you.
Because we were sleeping in bed.
Amanda was in.
Amanda went in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I basically just lost the rest of my stint. Didn't mess up anyone else's stints really, knock on wood. And the car went out and ran fine the rest of the time. So at least it wasn't. And I didn't hurt their car too bad. It needs 2 doors. And I was like, dude, let me know. I'll pay for them if I can. They're like, nah, it's racing. So fortunately, no harm, no foul. It was, I shout out to those guys. They took it well. And of course, they're joking Sunday morning, like, oh, no deed goes unpunished. We pushed them off Friday night. And they take out our doors on Saturday.
Like, just let me give you the money. No.
So yeah, they're like, yeah, well, we see you next year. We'll drink some beers with you. I'm like, yeah, beers are on me, bro. Like,
So Matt, you're in LA County right now, right?
Yeah.
Show us
this year.
Show us the sky.
I mean, it is always blue here, like always.
Oh.
And you can see how gray it is.
Yeah.
If we had done this a little bit earlier, we're getting these amazing orange sunset skies here.
So I was going to say, are you getting the orange? Because that's what
we are.
Friends in Oregon are looking at.
I'd like to talk to you about that because you're also ruining my sky over here in Las Vegas, by the way.
Well, it's not me so much as it's bad.
You're ruining our sky over here, and we're clear across the country.
If you look at the smoke trails, it's going up the west coast, across the edge of Canada, and down because of the jet stream. So everybody's getting it.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh wow, great.
Oh well.
So
right.
let's recap, because I think you're probably at the end of the issues for the Firebird. How much out of the 24 were you fixing, repairing down? Not the black flag, like.
Yeah, no, I think so. We're probably off. I'm gonna say almost 2 hours between the transponder, the drive shaft thing, my dong steppage. It's probably off for about 2 hours, or maybe not quite.
And how about the 944? Because there was a few little things with that.
Little things. It came off for oil. It came off for transponder. Alex had an off in the middle of the night trying to avoid a pile up in the kink. Dean and Laura both self-reported for driving off, but those were super quick. Come in like, hey, I drove off, and they're like, oh, we didn't even report it, so get out there. There was a lot of little ones in the 944. There's nothing big.
So would you say
really
maybe like a 40 minutes, 50 minutes, hour?
If you count, so the transponder was 30 minutes.
Okay.
And the other things were, fivers each type of deal. So maybe an hour, but probably not.
That's great.
It's great. I mean, the car, we were expecting the 944 would not be all that competitive. We were like hoping for a top 10. And really it was a competitor for
top 10
place.
is very competitive, by the way, in a 24. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, well, look, this was our first time having arrive and drives. We didn't know what to charge people. We didn't want to set expectations too high because stuff breaks,
Yeah, absolutely.
So we weren't sure how to charge, whether it was per stint or full buy-ins, and it got a little confusing, and I take some of the blame for that. But I mean, ultimately the cars ran like clocks, just unbelievable.
Yeah. Awesome.
Right.
And that was I'll also put in there, I mean, everyone on the team, especially Amanda and Alex, were under the 944 for hours Friday night, going over every bolt, torque stripe and stuff. I mean, unbelievable support from drivers that don't normally run with us, and hats off to everybody on the team that put in effort.
I think that goes to Chris's primary rule about if you've got a developed car and a developed team and you're looking for arrive and drives, look for people that have owned and done their own racing. Amanda,
car owners.
Well, yes, I mean her reputation speaks for itself. She's a great driver. She brings a great car.
Bingo, exactly.
So.
Yeah, and Alex
and they all showed up wearing party gear. Brendan
Right.
and Amanda and Kelly all wearing party gear. Alex brought his man thong. I mean, it was
Oh, I missed that one.
Oh, and the staged, it went so well too. But the reveal of the man thong.
So how much did the BMW get? How much time did the BMW get?
That's
what our mental did. 25
on
laps.
and off for 2 hours. Yeah, on and off for 2
25
hours.
laps.
As I was driving away from CMP, right before the Mustang got wrecked, I got a text from Eric that told me that the Cheetah Mustang had gotten 13 more laps than I did. So there was some time.
The one that rolled.
No, it did not roll.
I'm sorry.
It rolled the Volvo. Sorry,
Yes.
It was involved in the rollover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Jeff, you weren't here, so I arrived at HPR, and they gave me a broke race car there too, and I was black flagged for smoking too much in a race that had 2 diesels.
Yeah, I heard that part.
Which they put me back out in the yellow car, and as you approach these diesels, it was scary. Because again, you're out there in the middle of nowhere, and we weren't getting a lot of moonlight. So the lights, all of a sudden you're in a cloud. You're like, oh God, did someone go off? Is there dirt? Is there someone on fire? Oh, it's that Volkswagen Caddy, which by the way was really cool, but holy crap, that thing smoked like nobody's business. And then you get around them, get on the inside of it. So
Mental, how many shifts did you take in Colorado? Because you got 25 minutes in Carolina.
Counting the 45 minutes in the busted Miata smoke machine, I then got another 2-hour stint in the yellow Miata, and then they gave me the completion shift. So the 10 to noon shift in the yellow Miata. So
about 5 hours, maybe, or more.
Almost 5 hours. Yeah, that's
Okay.
that's legit.
I didn't know how long it took you to do the
Wouldn't
25
that
laps.
be nice?
Yeah. Sorry. I Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was feeling like a real clown because I'm by now I'm catching up on the disaster of the BMW. And I'm like, wow, I really broke that car. No one else got to drive it. And then they came here and they broke another one, and it's never going on the trailer. And then I literally, as I exited the track, I drove the third one onto the trailer. So it got to go on there on that one. I can't thank the Inglorious Bastards enough. Jerry Ringel and that whole crew. They embraced the fact that I was doing the 224s, which is why they wanted me to take the checker. So I got to start the CMP race and take the checker in the second race, which was
That's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. Let's talk finishing location. The 944 ended up being second.
Third.
Right? Third. I'm sorry, third. But maybe if we would have, woulda. Yeah.
What if the transponder
Firebird
thing is the big one? That's frustrating.
Yeah.
What about the Firebird? Where did it end up?
Firebird came in 13.
That's great for having
really
problems.
not bad.
Absolutely, yeah.
Really not bad.
BMW, DFL, or close or
No,
No,
4 up from DFL.
Yeah, I think it was 74th.
Yeah.
Out of
Not quite
You're
DFL.
welcome.
Yep.
Yes.
Inglorious Bastards. Did they?
It
get
also
any...
led for 2 laps, by the way. I'm just going to throw that out there until Dean.
I do have a screenshot of it.
Decided I was done.
How about the
Until
Colorado
Dean
cars?
decided I
How'd they
was
end
done.
up?
All right, I'm going to brag a little, and it's not even a humble brag. It's a straight
Make it
up
quick
brag.
because we're already going over 2 hours.
Got it.
So
got into the car at 3 o'clock in the morning. We were in 15th place. Got out of the car. It was 13th place. Got into the car again at 10 o'clock. It was in 15th place. I finished top 10.
great job.
Cool.
BMW finished 81st, ahead of 2.
Out of how many?
Well, there's 94 on here, but only 82 turned a lap. So,
Right.
so
Awesome.
not DFL. Yay.
Awards all around. We had Class B win in the 944.
We talked about it earlier.
Okay,
Jeff,
good.
You missed all that.
I'd also
Sorry.
like to point out that of the National Drivers Championship, you were staring at the top 3 across the top of my screen.
Woo woo.
Yep.
Awesome. What else do we have to say about the races, or are we ready to move on?
The only thing I was going to add, sorry, Chris, is just finishing up on Sunday was like, there was kind of like this Zen thing. I took one of the last stints in the Firebird, and Laura was in the 944, and she's hella fast. So we're out there kind of playing around together. I backed off. And I was, especially after stepping on my dong in the middle of the night, I was having this like very back off, enjoy the turn in, just do all the right things. And like, I just had this like happy feeling of like, we're going to finish this damn thing.
Yeah, it's coming to the end. Woo woo.
It was great. And I had like an hour of really just taking it easy. And Dean's on the radio. He's like, dude, are you okay? Because usually I'm like, I can't help myself to be
Hammering.
9/10 most of the time. But the tires were shot. Sun was out. It's getting warm again. I had a really great stint leading into the end of the race. And lastly, Amanda
Awesome.
gets in. She made it like 25 minutes into the last stint, and the exhaust falls off.
And she's like the exhaust is falling off, and you're like, keep driving. She's like, it's dragging. And she's
I'm like, no, come in.
No, it came in, and
The O2 sensor was the only thing connecting it to the car.
Well, that's going to be
That's
fine.
awesome.
Don't worry.
It was hanging
Sorry.
by the
Just
O2
keep
sensor.
going.
And for the last couple laps, it sounded like America. So
yeah, but that was what 20 minutes before the end of the race, I think.
yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
really
came
close
in,
to the end.
cut it off, went back out. We
Freedom!
danced. It was awesome.
Okay.
It's got a great exhaust tip on it.
It does. Yeah. Peter
That's-
fabbed that up because there's really just nothing for it. There's no room under that car. The floor pan is such a dumb design.
Nice.
Yep. Okay. I just wanted to spend a few minutes talking about the food because Jackie and Chrissy killed it on the food at this race. We started off great pancake breakfast with all of the different
I could
meat.
talk about that because I
Sorry.
did that.
Yeah, go ahead, honey.
Okay, I'll go quick.
Send it.
Okay, so Friday night we came in Friday. Jackie had made some chicken salad for a couple people. Friday night we had Kurt's butt. Hey, Kurt. Hey. Oh, it was so good.
Kurt does have the best butt in the whole
Oh my
world.
gosh. So he made one just for us. Shout out to you guys. We had his butt. It was delicious. Actually we put some away, and then they had fourth meal that we didn't know about at like midnight or something. More of that food came back out. So we had plenty of potato salad, some sides, about 6 different kinds of barbecue sauce, I think.
Nice.
A whole heck of a lot. But Kurt's butt was the star of that show. We had some baked beans as well. So we Saturday we went full out. That was our big breakfast. We had pancakes, 3 different kinds of meat. We have bacon, pork roll, and
Spam.
Spam. And my 2 favorite boys got omelets, which I had to slap everybody's hands. I said, "There's omelets only for you guys that don't eat pancakes." So so we had a really nice big breakfast. Lunch was.
While she's thinking of lunch,
brats and leftover sides from last night.
Yes, right. We had all leftover because we had made.
Yeah, that chicken salad stuff that Jackie made was bomb.
Yeah,
it was. It was good.
Basically, we excel at breakfast really, really well, and she did lunches and dinner. So we continued with leftover. So most of the other dinners we had salads left over for the night before. We had those. We both made potato salad. She made a macaroni salad. So every meal we had beer-soaked brats is what we had. For lunch. You're absolutely right. And then we had brisket and corn, which was sous vide. She was sous videing all day.
So
it was
sous vide is becoming party racing folks. We really like the sous vide because you set it, you kind of forget it. You can finish things on the grill if you want a nice seared edge on it. But I mean, she sous vide corn, beef. We did all kinds of stuff in it. It's really become our like kind of go-to.
And it was great because she already made all the corn, zip. Sucked all the air out of it. What do you call that?
Vacuum packed.
Yep. And then we had corn and butter and brisket, and plenty of it. So we had meat snacks all day, all night, which was awesome.
And this is where it gets even better.
This is where it gets awesome. So Chris was standing in the grocery store and was like, "We need 4th meal." Well, he said, from previous 24s, you need 4th meal. People that are up at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. when it's not breakfast time, you need something. So we try.
Plus, when you're tired, you go into calorie starvation mode.
So we try to have. I had chips out, we had grapes out, we had all kinds of stuff out. But the star of the show was a hash brown, already created hash brown like you get it like McDonald's, right? So a hash brown, sausage
patty,
sausage patty, which I cut out. Right,
excited.
I put cheese on the hash brown.
Yes,
and I made it a sandwich.
Yes.
Oh, there
we can't see nothing.
I saw that on the Slack. May I suggest a name for that? There needs to be like
McGangbang, isn't it?
No.
I don't know, but I like it.
It needs to be like the Firebird breakfast sandwich or something.
I don't know.
Or
that was Chris's creation.
If anybody has any ideas, let us know. But I will tell you, it is absolutely delicious. Is what it is.
So that was at 5:30. We were eating, and there's Chris
I saw those pictures
in his mouth.
I saw those pictures when I got up on the Slack channel. So on the Glorious Bastards, there's a guy, Blake. We call him Taco Blake because he owns a small chain of taco restaurants. Hardworking guy.
That's the kind of guy you need to arrive and drive with.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, right. And I never eat bad when I'm with the Inglorious Bastards. And at Barber earlier this year, they did the Saturday night potluck because the Rona wasn't a thing then. And it was just, he brought tons of stuff. So you eat well with the Glorious Bastards. You eat really good stuff, good guys. Food. But I knew I wasn't in a 3-pedal mafia pit when it was food time. I didn't go hungry and I didn't complain, but it was like, I've been eating at the great State House and now I'm at a Quincy's. But so. I am so friggin' spoiled that I'm homesick when I'm eating with a guy that owns taco restaurants who has prepared a feast.
That kind of sounds right.
So we had coffee rolling the whole time.
You beat me to it.
I made yes, right. So I tried to make fresh as well as I could, but we did have it on for a while. I had coffee rolling. I made breakfast casserole, but since I put it on normally when I cook breakfast casserole, nobody's awake. So I put a sign on it and said, "Do not eat this until 4 a.m."
Do not eat me until
right, till 4 a.m. because I didn't want people to be like, "Poke, poke."
Oh, look,
is it done?
It's 2 in the morning.
Done.
I will have some.
It's like egg. It's egg, but I
And
also
I love how
little...
none of us are insulted because we totally would have done that.
No, and I didn't bring enough coffee cups, so I put a sign on the coffee machine that said, "If you take a coffee cup and you want another cup, do not get rid of your cup because we're low on cups." So and so what?
Put your name on it.
Yeah, put your name on it. And Alex is like, he walks away with another cup, and I said, "Don't throw that cup away." He was like, "But I had a cup, and then someone threw it away," and I was
I couldn't find it.
Dude, it's fine. Like, it's not a big deal. I just want to make sure people like
That
Jeff.
cup is okay. 12 cups is not.
Literally, this is what Jeff does. I can't find my coffee cup. Let me go get another one and fill it with more coffee. Oh, I found the other one.
You
There
need
it
a
is.
grad assistant to find it and give it to you.
Right. So
No, I just wander around and look. I'm like, it's around here.
right. So we had coffee rolling. We had some creamer. We had breakfast casserole, which people started partaking, I think, at 4 o'clock. So that was good. And then
At 3:55, they're waiting. They're like at a fork, like it's almost ready.
Well, you know what?
It's
I wasn't awake then, so I don't really care. I just wanted to give them I was started cooking at 11, and I was like,
Ding fries are done.
When do I think this will be done? And I'm like, I think 4 a.m. should be safe. But people
It was a special hell waking up after like an hour and a half. Finally dried off and cooled off in the trailer to put back on a wet race.
Yeah, right.
Oh, nice.
I think Alex was even worse. Alex was one level up of Jeff smell bad. So Alex was honestly
Wait, like smellier or almost as smelly?
Oh no, beyond.
Oh,
Yeah.
He offended
He
himself.
offended himself. Yeah.
I offend myself.
I just keep deodorant handy. I just like re-up several times a day when you
Well,
get
and then everybody had a bath with hand wipes before we were done. Anyway, so then we had we didn't have a whole lot of lunch, but we had plenty of breakfast. We had more. We had bagels out. We had muffins out. We had all kinds of stuff. So,
Or hash brown sandwiches.
Well,
then
hell
then
yeah.
suddenly eggs. Someone showed up and said, "Hey,
Some
you
guy
want these
was
eggs?"
like, "Do you want these eggs?" And we're like, "Sure."
Eggs?
Like, what-
Yeah.
Like it was like a what is it? An 18 pack?
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Hamza mentioned another staple of Three Pedal Mafia.
Yes, he did, and he's going to listen to this. And we didn't talk about this before. Bread heels and grease. I made him bread heels and grease.
Oh yeah, baby.
I did, and I made them just perfectly. So I had a little
That's
bit
awesome.
of, I had plenty of grease, and I kind of flipped them over enough so they were crispy, but they still had the grease part. And he was
This
in
is
he was in a terrible mood. Hamza was right.
Yeah.
So he brought us a bad car.
No,
he's
I
like
could
throwing,
imagine.
he's like throwing things around, and he comes over to breakfast and he starts standing next to me, and I make him some bread heels and grease, and he literally, it made him happier.
It totally
he
did.
He
was in a
came
much
over
better
to the
mood
car, and I
after
was like,
bread heels
and he
and
was like,
grease.
I don't wanna go fix the car, and I was like, here, have another piece of bread, and he was like, okay. And so then he did. He got more coffee, went back over, was happy. So bread heels and grease were absolutely part of the staple that happened in the morning. So we had plenty to eat. I don't think anybody went hungry. There was a couple times when we may not have had enough food out, but if anything, there was
That was
Oreos,
great.
large packages of Oreos all the time.
All
So
those mint
people-
ones were like,
Mint. Oh.
Yeah.
Mint. Yeah, we had
Ooh,
chocolate
delicious.
peanut butter first, and then mint with the mint second.
Everyone has
that's a
bad breath
letdown.
at this point, Jeff. You need
Well,
mint.
It's all a letdown because my mom was away for the week before, so she could not make Chrissy's mom's cookies. So
Mhm.
we had to go with store-bought. That's what we did, and it worked out. So I think the food went out well. That was about one of the greater things and pitting with Jackie was
Yeah.
fantastic. So next race, we're doing it because I bring
Yeah.
the stuff that she doesn't have, and we complemented each other well.
well, I mean, speaking of Jackie, we didn't really talk about organization
No.
of racers, and I know we're getting late, but like, I gotta talk about this for a minute.
She is
Yeah.
the
No, she
bomb.
did so
Well,
much. It was
but
amazing.
like 6 drivers, 2 cars. Firebird goes through 20 gallons of gas in an hour and a half.
She was getting
stupid.
She was
She
getting
was-
a little annoyed at this.
Basically, she was basically up all night, and she's like a program manager, and she's like just killed it. She was absolutely like the best crew chief. She had everybody organized. We had the whiteboard with everything going. She was keeping track of things. She was behind the fence watching every driver change. I mean, it's just the amount of work she put into us having a good time was phenomenal.
And she
And
helped
we
me
can't thank
make
her enough.
food, but she also
On top of all that,
she was putting gas into this jug goes for this
Oh,
car, but
she's
this
doing-
car
yeah.
needs this one.
Yeah.
She's transferring gas from jug to jug. Everybody else is just standing around, and she's
Well,
so,
Standing around eating chips.
I mean, there could have been a little bit of like, hey, you go do this, but she really did a lot.
Sure.
She really did a
She
lot.
did. She killed it.
Yeah, totally.
And we are very grateful for that.
Absolutely. She's great. Everybody was great.
Okay.
We had a great
It was a great weekend.
This is
other
really
than the
what
car
is
being
this is
broken.
how do we wrap it up?
I have one last question, and then it will be over, and we can go on to just the tip or whatever we got today. Chris, now that you've seen it, can we have a 944? Can we have a 944?
I don't
You can-
recommend it.
Can we have a
No.
944?
Jeff,
Can we have a 944?
once the Z is done
Yeah.
and works, you
Yeah.
can do whatever the hell you want.
All right.
Thank you.
Ooh.
Write it
All I'm
down.
going to say is if you're going to do a 944, go straight to Ecotech.
Okay.
Don't even mess around
No,
with the stock
to
motor.
3800 supercharged.
That's fine. That's
Yeah.
fine.
K-
That's too much,
K24.
actually. You don't even need the supercharger. That car is dumb fast with 180 horsepower.
I mean,
K24.
they won. They won.
We already have one.
K24.
Do not put that motor in there. That's a pile. Nissan motor, no effing way.
No.
Honda
no.
K24.
Oh,
Not
sorry.
the K, not the
K24.
KA24.
Sorry, that's what I heard. And I'm having flashbacks. Sorry.
Yeah. Obviously, we hit a trigger for Matt. No, the motor in the Honda. That obviously
Yeah.
works pretty well.
Godzilla.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That'll be great. That'll be great.
Can you
Yeah,
put that
well-
in a rear drive transmission, Chris?
Yes, because they're swapping a Miata.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to whatever's next. What do we got? Hello Sweet, just the tip. What do we got?
I see it. Just the tip.
Just the tip. Who's in it?
Tip.
Just the tips, usually Chrissy. It's
Chrissy.
pink.
Oh no, but you wrote it. I wasn't even going to read it.
I made it pink. Everyone
I,
likes
me
I,
to
it.
try,
read it
I
since
tried
I
this.
haven't
I
said
tried
much?
this once too, and she's like, "Nope,
Hi,
I didn't write
everyone.
this."
This is
Yeah.
Jeff here. I have no idea what I'm about to read, but if you hate yard work as much as I do, removing fallen leaves and other debris from your yard is the worst job on the planet. But it does help maintain your curb appeal with tidy landscape. Plus,
'Cause
it helps
Jeff
get rid
cares
of
so
material
much.
that might kill plants and lawn underneath. Who wants their lawn to grow? That just means you have to mow it more often. But if you
True.
do want your lawn to grow, the simple task of raking leaves can lead to back injuries or falls. Follow these tips to help keep leaf raking safe. Do a 10-minute warm-up before you start raking. I like something like this.
My
Okay.
simple
Okay,
warm-up
wear gloves.
consists
That
of
was
grabbing the-
visual, by the way.
Grabbing the battery for the blower.
Yeah.
This is excessive. I think.
Wear gloves and long sleeves to prevent hand blisters and protect against any thorns or poisonous plants. I've never worn long
Okay,
sleeves.
That's
Avoid
actually-
twisting your back.
Georgia,
rake.
that's legit. That is
Yeah.
actually legit.
All right. Avoid twisting your back to rake in a new direction. Turn your feet. That's actually good move. Use your knees when lifting and stop working if you feel pain in your back. Wear shoes with strong traction. Wet leaves can be slick. Stay hydrated and take frequent breaks.
Thanks, Jeff, for this safety tip.
Or
Thanks, Jeff.
just purchase yourself a lawn crew that will come and do it for you.
Or
Or
onion
dinner.
rings.
Or onion
Or
ring.
You know-
yeah,
you know rings?
I've got grass or rocks instead of grass, and I just hit it with a leaf.
Good
blower.
move. Good move.
5
Leaf
minutes.
flowers
Yeah.
all around. All right, that's the show.
Yep.
Is it exciting? Does anyone know what we're doing next week?
No.
No.
Actually, yes.
On a button willow.
Yes.
Oh.
Matt and I are going to be racing a 76 Omega and the mighty wet ass Pontiac at Button Willow. So we're going to be talking about that.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
I'm getting the music unless somebody else has it handy.
You got it first.
I will be there in
Go
1
for it.
second.
Oh God.
I'll
So
be there.
yeah, folks. So tune in next week. You know, would it be okay if we had Matt back to talk about what we're doing or no? I'm seeing hesitation.
Yeah,
All right, so
sure.
I put
No,
everybody
like-
on
We
the
haven't-
spot on that one.
Yeah, no,
haven't
of
got
course.
it.
Like,
Matt, what are you doing? Matt, what are you doing next Wednesday? We'll talk about Button Willow.
He has a job and stuff, you know,
Yeah.
and has to
Yeah.
prep the car for Button Willow.
Well, yeah. So I was going to show you guys pictures, but we're out of time. But
How,
Oh,
how
yeah,
about
so
a
that-
post
So
button
next
willow?
week we're going to do that, and Matt will do us a walk around on the mighty solstice.
well, yeah. Right now, it
Our
still
Instagram.
looks like a sad, not quite duo car, and the vinyl's sitting next to it, ready to go on.
Nice.
Hopefully
But you don't do
by-
anything anyway, so you must have time to do that.
Yeah, right.
I'm
Ouch.
kidding.
Ouch.
No, I know.
Oh,
No,
dude,
it's
I'm
good.
kidding.
Yeah. No, we know you're kidding, Chrissy. So
All right, well-
so we'll be talking about the wet ass Pontiac and Button Willow and Corey Dickman.
Can't wait.
It's going to be a great time.
it's going to be a great crew.
Wet asses, Dickman. I'm excited. Thanks for downloading us. We hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Everyone Racers. We'll hope you'll join us in the world of driving, racing, and building, because everyone can be a racer, even you. If you enjoyed this podcast, subscribe. It is totally free. Then go to iTunes and give us a 5-star rating. Or if you're watching on YouTube, punch the little button in the doodly-doo down there and tell us how much you love it. Even if you hate us, give us 5 stars and tell us why. If you have any questions or show ideas, drop a comment on our Facebook page, Everyone Racers, or email us at everyone.racers@gmail.com. Find us on Instagram or Twitters at everyone.racers. Thanks again, and until next week, keep the animal print side up.
Yeah.
Unless you don't have an animal print, then just keep the wheels down.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for
No,
being
thank
here.
you.